welcome on the show.
Welcome to the Comics Aficionados live right here on Thinking Critical YouTube. Every Saturday morning, we got a fantastic panel. Not a whole lot of news to get into, but we're going to make this fun, and we're going to talk about some comic book goodness. Obviously, we do have a fantastic panel, and Jim, normally we'd wait on you a little bit, but
yeah,
you told me a story this week, and I'm still trying to get my head around it. Did your unwielding rage almost kill you? Did the bad weather almost kill you? Or did your kids almost kill you? Because you did almost die this week.
Well, the answer is yes to all those. It was a combo. And then just other stuff happened since then. But yeah, my kids ended up, I didn't go to the hospital though, Wes. So you'll be happy to know I'm still manning it out.
I told you to go to the hospital that you're going to get an infection.
Yeah.
And you're like going to lose your jaw.
That might happen, but I'm kind of hoping. Then I can bail out gracefully. Jawless is what it would be. But yeah, I ended up getting so mad at my kids. It snowed here on the East Coast, so my kids wouldn't shovel. So I went out to shovel, and I was pissed because I was shoveling out our area so my one son could go to work. And then when I was shoveling, I looked, and they were looking at me through the window, laughing and pointing. So I got pissed off, ran to go into the house, slipped on my stairs because they were icy, fell, face planted, put my teeth through my lower lip. They were outside my lip. Then ran into the house, and then I was furious. Went to go and fight them physically, slipped because my feet were wet then, and I fell and might have broken my elbow. And then they laughed. They laughed some more, and then I got up, one arm bandaging, kind of running after them. But that was that. That was it. So yeah, almost died. Might still die. Maybe I'll just get an infection, like you said. So we'll deal with it.
Well,
I'm excited. I'm excited to know that Jim lives in the Home Alone universe.
Yeah, that's what Wes said. That's all it was. I said they might as well have set my head on fire. And just did some other,
but you
Christmas
Joe Pesci'd yourself.
Yeah, I did. I was very angry, and then and my one son realizes that it might have been a little more problems than they thought when they were laughing. And he sent me a text last night. He's like, hey, at least we can laugh about it now. Like we're looking back at it now. Like, oh yeah, remember that time? But yeah, they were laughing.
You still got a hole in your lip.
Yep, I do. And I can't stop messing with it. So yeah. I did get that super glue stuff and kind of worked it, but I keep rubbing against it. I keep wanting to put my tongue out through my lip. That's what I want to do because that's pretty cool. And but yeah, I should probably go get it checked. I keep saying it.
Jim is inadvertently got himself into body modification.
Exactly. That's that. I should just go full out now. That's all I got to do.
In your lip.
Put one of those discs in your lip.
Yeah, I could maybe start doing that. That'd be awesome. I'll do that.
But now you might die because your wife might kill you because you spritzed her in the face with toilet water.
Yeah. Now we have problems with the plumbing that it's backed up, and we're trying to figure that out. But we have this runoff deal that I open up the pipe, and because of the pressure of us, trying to get it just flung. It was like a geyser right in my wife's face, and I laughed so hard. It was so good. She's very mad.
And now you live in the Oregon Trail universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Gonna die of dysentery.
And that's the thing I told her. I right now have a lip that has a open deal. I'm like, I'm done now. It's all set up.
So. Are you going to text her? At least we can laugh about it now.
Yeah, maybe I will. I'll tell Rafe to do that. I was texting her right as we started, trying to calm her down, but I can hear her 3 floors down screaming at me because she's trying to deal with this plumbing. And I said, I got to go. I'm going to go and go on the video with Wes. And she's like, you're effing going to talk about comics now? And she just started screaming. I'm like, and the worst is I closed the basement door. I just didn't want to. And she flipped. That was the last thing. She's yelling, don't you close that damn door. I'm like, all right.
You closes the door, flips the on-air sign. Looking out through the window.
Exactly. Oh, it's bad. It's bad right here.
You're going to finish the show and find out that you are now blockaded into the basement.
I am probably. Yeah. It's trouble. But hey, the show must go on.
You are more committed to the bit than I am, Jim. If I spritz my wife in the face with shit water, and she says it's time to not do the show, the live stream gets canceled.
And this was 2 2 minutes before I got on, so I'm like, I gotta get up there. I did. If this would have been something like last night, where the big fights were, I probably would have told you. But no, we're here. She can calm down. I was sending her links of where she can go and rent an auger while I'm doing this. So there, you get the. It's bad. But
Well,
yeah,
if
that's my
Jim
life.
goes silent for about 45 minutes,
Yeah.
it's because he's being undressed, not literally.
Not sexy.
Yeah.
Bad. No, maybe
But
I'll keep the mic on. We could all enjoy the fun.
Get that frying pan noise and then just
Oh
silence
yeah.
Jim's.
Yeah,
Then you
keep
hear
moaning.
snoring.
That's all it is. Oh, that'd be good.
It would have been great if your kids would have like just heated up your door handle and you would have like
That would have been now.
whatever.
The thing is, the idea of the plumbing now does actually make me think back of the good old days of falling and face planting on my steps. So maybe it works out. I'm gonna text her now
man.
that I love her. She might be listening.
You should.
Yeah,
Oh,
That might
that's
make it
that's
worse.
a rough one, Jim.
it always is. And these, I wish I could say like I make this up. I really wish I could, but it's just bad.
And I kept it together this time, Jim, because when you told me that story the first time on the Patreon Hot or Not show,
Yeah.
I almost started crying.
Yeah, I haven't seen you laugh that hard. Actually, you were almost crying at my misery. Thank you. It made me feel so much better.
I wasn't crying so much at your misery. I was just thinking about how it all played out like probably perfectly for your kids. They really got you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there's like a group text going around still laughing at me. They probably were taking video. I'm sure all that's out there. I'll have to say.
You're on TikTok.
Yeah, really.
Oh, no.
Fantastic stuff, Jim. I
Yeah.
really appreciate you sharing.
Ta-da. I'm out of here,
fucking
guys.
death.
That's all I do. I come in. I'm like, hey, my life sucks. I'm out.
Who else we got? We got MVP. You just started. You're not only doing comic books, you did your Warhammer 40K channel as well now.
Yeah, it's been really fun, and so if you guys want to kind of get into the Warhammer universe, I started a channel called Maximus Prime or Maximus Prime 40K, and right now I've probably got a little under 20 videos. But hey, it's a great start, and people have come out with their full support, and it's been really fun to kind of get back into the Warhammer universe, so that when people eventually kind of divert their attention over to Warhammer and potentially what Amazon is going to be doing, this will give them a great opportunity to already kind of come into it understanding and knowing more, a little bit more about the universe. So I'm very blessed to have such a great fan base to want to come support. So it's been cool.
Is Maximus Prime your Warhammer name or something?
I put out a poll out there, and it
Phrasing.
well, yeah. I put a something on Twitter that basically said, should I utilize like a actual Warhammer name like Adeptus Maximus? But no one really knows what the hell that is. Or what about Sword Brother Maximus, which is actually part of a Black Templars faction, right? And people were like, well, no one knows what that is either. So I said, well, Maximus is the gladiator, is the name from Gladiator. And Maximus Prime kind of sounds like Optimus Prime, which is one of the greatest heroes and leaders in modern pop culture. So I said, you know what? It sounds cool. And sometimes you just got to go with the rule of cool. So I went with Maximus Prime.
I don't believe that story. I think that was your name in World of Warcraft, and you're borrowing it.
I wish. That would be pretty cool. So
I think Wes is right.
That's got to be right. You got a helmet?
yeah,
The J-Man
I'll,
got you a 40K helmet?
this dude is a real one. So last year he got me Viking drinking horns, so that the next time we can hang out, we can clash, beer steins and hang out. And this year he got me a 40K helmet of one of my favorite factions. So while he's talking, I'll go grab it and put it on for you guys real quick, because I'm not sure you'll be able to hear me through it. It's a hefty hefty piece of armory. So but
Come
yeah,
on, Max. If Doomcock can make it work, certainly you can.
Exactly.
but then I have to start talking about Kathleen Kennedy every video, and I just don't want to have to do that. So
Obviously you're
yeah,
talking about your brother and bromance. We got Josh returning here. He's been off for a couple of weeks. How you been, Josh?
I'm doing all right, Wes. We kicked back into gear on Pop by Culture. Had our first stream in a few weeks this past Tuesday. Potentially the best stream we've had. So it was a lot of fun. And yeah, just getting back in the swing of things after the holidays and the personal family stuff. So feeling pretty good. I was also going to say, Max said he put something on Twitter, and I was like, I put something on Twitter once, and Wes blocked me. Like,
Did I?
You didn't block me, but you muted me because it was about what happened at an event.
Oh, yeah, that thing. Yeah,
Took Wes by surprise. I mean, you gotta warm a guy up for that, Josh. No pun intended.
Well, there you
Well,
go.
look at
That's
this fucking nerd above me. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't know if you guys can hear
We
me or not.
actually can.
We can actually
Oh,
hear you.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, here's the stream. Here's the rest of the stream. I guess we're just
So
doing
it
this.
turns out Maximus Prime is from Beast Wars. People are going to think you have a Beast Wars Transformers channel.
Uh-oh. Maybe I need
Yeah.
to change it now.
Yeah, you better start talking about Beast Wars once in a while. That's your only option.
Look, I told him he needed to call it Max Hammer 40K, but
That makes more sense, doesn't it?
I
There's
agree.
already a larger channel called Wes Hammer. And so it would just be
Oh.
copying him. So
It's going to be hard
Yeah.
to beat somebody named Wes.
Yeah, but Max, that's maximum hammer. That's what you're bringing to
Yeah,
the table.
you're the max.
most maximum of hammers. Yeah.
Maximal hammer.
There's,
See,
Ma-
all comes back to
Magnum
Beast
hammer.
Wars again.
Yeah, I think that's what it sounds like.
there's another cock joke in here that I'm not sure
Oh,
about.
it's a cock joke. So how have things been going for you, Josh? Are you back on the reading comic books train? Have you caught up?
I'm mostly caught up. I've only read like 3 issues from this week, but other than that, I've got a few left to read from this week. But yeah, I'm pretty much
You
caught
read
up.
Enfield
I'm
Gang, you
trying
read Cobra Commander. And what would the other
I
one
see.
be?
Infield Gang is the one I haven't read it yet, but I read gosh, what was it? Avengers Twilight, Cobra Commander, and then GI Joe. I feel like there's something else I forgot to read. I'll have to look through my
Yeah,
books in a
Joe's
bit.
good.
Yeah, GI Joe was a lot of fun. I wasn't sure. We'll talk about it later in
Okay.
recommendations.
Well, very nice. Who else we got here? We got Aaron Sparrow with the sweater on. In California, it's sweater weather?
It's cold in here this morning. I don't run the heater, so I woke up and it was a little bit cold. So I was like, I'm gonna throw a sweater on.
One time we went up to like a
Did
mountain
West Freak? Oh.
with my wife, and she wanted a hoodie because it was 72 degrees. Is that what's happening here?
No. See, Josh, I see you were going to jump in there and say, did Wes freak out when he saw me in a sweater? No, Wes only freaks out if I come on and I'm wearing like a beanie. And then he's like, take the beanie off. You look like Chris Arant.
I'm just trying to be nice, man.
No, I appreciate it. Wouldn't want that. Wouldn't want to look like a comics journalist.
No.
So you're a little salty. You having a better week now?
I've been having a good week. Everything's coming up Sparrow.
Elaborate. What
I can't talk about the stuff yet.
Is this the stuff that you told me
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Well, fuck it. I'm breaking news right now. Let's do it, baby.
You need your whole intro and that great shot of you like turning very seriously to the camera, while all the the logos go behind you.
Very nice. So, Aaron, after hearing Jim's stories, are you more or less likely to get married and have kids?
I mean, less.
You're
I mean,
welcome.
it's not very likely anyway. But
My
but
job
yeah, no,
here is done.
Jim, you paint a cautionary tale that
Yes,
I think
I
we ignore at our peril.
Yeah. Yeah, you avoided it.
Very nice. But Aaron does have some very big announcements coming up in the not too distant future. Hopefully, he'll be able to divulge some of the details. And obviously, you've been teasing. I forgot the name now. It's Beware of Doom.
Kneel before Doomface.
Kneel before
It's on my.
Doomface.
It's on my. It's right there,
Kneel
Wes.
before Doomface.
Wes, it's right here. Kneel before Doomface. Yeah, working on that with Renzo Rodriguez. Having a lot of fun with that script. The problem is I keep thinking of new things, and I'm like, can I fit this in? Does this fit in the first issue? Where do I move this to? This is good. What should I do? But yeah, just plugging away at that and helping out a lot of people with with their crowdfunded books. I put out a tweet a while ago saying that I thought a lot of crowdfunded books would benefit from having an editor look at their scripts before they went to print. There's a lot of crowdfunded books that I feel that way. That if they had just run this by somebody and gotten some notes and kind of tweaked this, and so a lot of people have reached out to me on their independent books and have asked for help. So I have a very very competitive rate for people that are looking for that kind of input. And been working with some great creators, some first time creators that have like delivered amazing scripts. One of them you guys have seen is Brotherhood of the Wolf, which I'm working on, and you can see that on my Twitter. We're showing off preview pages and talking about that. I'm doing, of course, Unholy Nightmare with Drew, and then a couple other projects that I can't talk about yet. But as soon as I am cleared to do so, I will.
Somebody had a question about Philip Kennedy Johnson. To my knowledge, he's still active duty Army and in the U.S. Army Band, which is a little bit different than being in the regular Army. Now, and last but not least, we do have Doc. How you doing, buddy? Your Steelers went down in a blaze of glory.
Good. I mean, maybe somebody will, I don't know, have a brain and fire Mike Tomlin like they should have done 5 years ago. I know he is, because he's unfireable by this team.
Very nice. So Sully was talking about donuts earlier, Doc. What's your favorite donut? You seem like a donut guy.
I am periodically. I don't eat them a lot, though. I mean, mostly because it requires I'm very particular about my donuts. But I'd have to say, like, a chocolate cream filled or I think that's probably
mine's a filled Long John or a Bear Claw.
Is that a donut though? I mean,
a Bear Claw? It's a cinnamon like glazed donut.
I've always seen them more. Well, if there's no hole in it, well, I guess then again the
Long John.
The cream filled don't have a hole in it either, so that doesn't count. Okay, yeah, I mean I can go with Bear Claws. The French curler, I like those. I don't know why.
Jim, your kid works at a donut shop. Is a Bear Claw donut?
That's a weird one. I would say
Is
no.
it a hot topic in your house?
Yeah, it rages on. It does. I don't know. That seems.
I always considered a Bear Claw its own thing.
It's more of a pastry,
it's a Bear Claw.
right? More of a pastry than a donut. I would
Listen,
say.
it's not a croissant, fellas. It's a donut.
It kind of is.
Is it deep? Is it deep fried?
Yeah, I believe
okay,
it is. Yeah, so maybe it's just
I'll go with it.
A big nasty looking donut. That's what it is.
I like a custard filled Long John or Bear Claw. Aaron Sparrow, you look like a Munchkins guy. Huh?
What the hell is a Munchkin?
Donut holes from Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts. Donut holes.
I'm actually not a donut guy at all. I don't really indulge in donuts. They don't do anything for
You're
me.
a bagel guy?
That's just pure. The donuts are just pure sugar. Like I don't need that. I'm gonna go get a more contemporary dessert. Something a little more
fucking avocado toast.
They wouldn't serve donuts with Panera bread.
A nice creme brulee, perhaps a piece of pistachio cheesecake from the nice little Italian place. That kind of thing. While I drink my espresso.
What's a munchkin?
So
That's gotta be like.
I'm over here like, God, I thought I was the gay one. Since we have a morning show that's the anatomy of a donut, I'm a basic guy. Just give me just a plain glazed donut.
Dude,
Do you cut it in half and butter it on the griddle like Sully said to do?
Butter it? No,
because you got to put butter on it and like grill it.
Look, so you're just double frying it?
Man.
Yeah, my nickname at one point was Butter, and I don't. Yeah, that's too much.
No, it was Butters. It was Butters.
Your best friend was Biscuit.
because so if I'm cooking breakfast and I make homemade biscuits, I put a shit ton of butter on there. So my Irish roommate started calling me Butter, but they don't say butter; they say butter. So butter.
Well, we're gonna find out at Dallas Fan Expo because Josh is cooking.
That's right.
So we're and not the type of cooking that he does on Twitter where you're like, hold up, let him cook.
Yeah, he's cooking.
We're talking about he is gonna be the chef for when we do Fan Expo this year. We're talking about getting a bed and breakfast and the whole crew hanging out, having a good time.
And if
Somebody mentioned
if a British guy just makes fun of you because you use too much butter, you got some problems. Because they go full out. I mean, seriously.
Dude. Somebody just mentioned Tim Hortons, and I will say that place has a special place in my heart. When I was in Afghanistan, I was within like a helicopter distance of Kandahar, and there's a Tim Hortons on Kandahar. And sometimes when people would visit us, they would bring a couple of dozen of Tim Hortons, and it was always delicious. So.
Is that where the Canadian troops were stationed?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
There was even like it's hard. It wasn't an ice rink, but it was a rink where you could play like field hockey, but like with a real hockey net and sticks, but run maybe.
So deck
like
hockey.
It was a soccer field, but they were using sticks.
That's a weird deal. Yeah.
That's
deck
field
hockey in the
right?
field, but it's field hockey, but it's.
Yeah. But you're supposed.
I thought field hockey it had like a net and stuff on it.
Yeah, you have that, and you can only use one side of the stick.
That's lacrosse, or is lacrosse field hockey?
No, field hockey. Field hockey, it's a heavier ball, and it actually is on the ground, and you use a stick. Lacrosse, you use the thing with the net, like the stick that has the net in it, and it has you throw it. You throw the
lacrosse
ball.
Is the closest thing we have to Quidditch.
Yeah, I love both actually.
Lacrosse is fucking Quidditch? Brutal.
Quidditch, I was the best Quidditch guy in my town.
Someone asked when I in Kandahar. Right about the same time you were. About 2010, maybe a little bit earlier than that. Max, you got a favorite donut before we move on to real stuff?
Yeah, I'm basic. I like the glazed. I'm with Josh. I just like simple.
Man, you guys do everything together, don't you?
Really?
Yeah. Actually, it's been we're gonna do a show here pretty soon as well, so that'll be pretty fun. And I don't want to.
Is it called Butter?
The Butter Boys?
Butter and bread?
No, but I will say, because we announced it on Tuesday, we can say it. It is called Cherry Popped. So
yeah.
Dear
God. Never mind.
No, it's this is going to be the setup for the show. It's basically us making Max watch all the things that he's missed by being so young,
right?
By being just such a wee baron, such a baby.
You need to watch Ice Pirates, dude. Your mind will be blown.
Isn't that the one with like young Ron Perlman?
Yes, he is in that one. Yes, and
before he started peeing on his hands,
right?
What was the other one? Sorry,
Angelica Houston.
Yeah. So we're gonna go through like series like Buffy and Angel and just
Buffy
like,
and Angel. How fucking young are you?
3.
That shit came out in the 90s.
Sir, you realize he was born in the 90s, right?
Yeah, 93.
Yeah, he was a baby.
Yeah.
He was like 6 when that show.
So we're at a place where Buffy the Vampire Slayer is considered vintage, but like the TV show, not the movie, right?
He missed the movie. I don't even think he was alive for the movie yet.
I don't think he was either. No, he may not have been.
No,
or he was just born. But
when X-Men 92 debuted, Max was not born yet.
Unfortunately.
That's true.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it should be a fun time, and I'm really looking forward to it. Give some people some good entertainment, and it'll also be good because like 2024, I really can't think of any releases that will be coming out in 2024 that are like really that mind blowing.
Madam Web.
What am I saying? Oh, never mind. Yeah,
Valentine's Day, Max. We're going. It comes out.
We'll go together. We'll hold hands.
Yep, that's a Valentine's.
Look, I will go see Madam Web just to see Sydney Sweeney in that costume.
No, you know what? I'm actually. I put out on Twitter, and people were like, "Why? What are you doing?" I was like, "Guys, I'm seriously considering seeing Madam Web opening weekend. I really am. There's just something about it that screams like hilarious train wreck, and I kind of feel like I gotta be there for it. Plus, let's get the campaign started to have it outperform the Marvels. Can we just do that? Just get it to outperform the Marvels, because I think that would be hilarious.
Lade Kramer says it's good to hear Doc in training for his review in March for Jackpot and Black Hat #1. Jim Bird said a certain review is coming on Monday. Cheap plug it. Yes, Doc and I are reviewing Jackpot #1 on Monday on the channel.
Unfortunately.
And if you can't wait till Monday, it will be up as part of Doc Unfiltered on the Patreon, obviously tomorrow when we record it, just right after it.
Yep, it'll go up live. Well, not live, but tape delayed. Yeah.
Very, very cool stuff. Are you excited for Jackpot #1?
No.
You shouldn't.
Not at all. I am kind of dreading this, hence the reason why I'm going to not read it until tomorrow morning, like right before we record.
Very
But then it's nice and fresh in my eye.
Caleb says, "Good thing I'm never getting married." Yeesh. Marriage is a beautiful thing, right, Jim?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's great.
There's so much conviction in that.
Yes, great.
The best thing ever happened to me.
It's about as good as reading Jackpot #1. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, that was bad, and it's good. It has its ups and downs, as they say. It's a roller coaster ride of emotions.
Guys, I don't know if you've noticed. I got if you've noticed, but comics are like mostly really bad right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little quality issue. Adam Frey, since the Eisners killed it, the iron is hot for you comics YouTubers to launch your own awards for comics journalism. How about the Doc Awards?
Oh, yes.
The Dockies?
The Dockies.
I'm getting a pair of pants or something? Or that's Dockers. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
no, then you just call it pants and that.
I feel like Doc's award would just be a big middle finger. Like that's what you would give to people. It's just this sculpture of just like a fist with a flipping the bird. It's like, congratulations, you won a Docky.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of
here. This is what Doc thinks of you.
Get the fuck out.
Get out.
But I don't know, making up your own awards show, and you have to be funny and all that stuff. And I'm not funny when I try to be funny. Apparently.
The Oscars and the Emmys and none of those have been funny in years, except for that last one that Ricky Gervais did, the Golden Globes.
Yeah, but once you do it on YouTube, you've got to carry it yourself with whoever your co-host is. And Doc, when he tries to be funny, like he explains the joke twice.
Yeah. I tend to do that. No, we hey, you know what? Watching Chris Rock get bitch slapped by Will Smith was kind of amusing, though.
Doc, I'll refine your joke for you. Like we'll go through and we'll write it. We'll put it on the teleprompter, and you can you can awkwardly read it.
Yes. Yep.
There's not little teleprompters that you can put on your phone.
We can have songs going. It'd be great. It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So we can get copyright struck.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Carrie from Nerdy Girl Creates. Good morning, guys. Jim is living dangerously like Wile E. Coyote or Homer Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
Do you consider yourself more Wile E. Coyote or Homer Simpson, Jim?
Sadly,
I'm leaning Homer.
Sadly, I would say more like Homer. Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, if you put Jim in like a nuclear power plant, it would melt down in minutes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have things where I'll just go and I end up where people don't believe this stuff. And I end up like we walk into Wawa, some guy turns around, spills coffee on me, then I kind of and it ends up like the biggest disaster. That's why I stay at home. It just.
Anytime anyone ever mentions like Wawa, I think that they're like just doing like little shorthand baby talk, and I like get like irrationally
I'm at
angry.
the Wawas.
Just like for a moment, I'm like, oh, shut up.
Baby, need the Wawa.
You shut up.
Like a 7-Eleven, I think, right?
Yeah. In our town, though, the 7-Elevens went out of business, so we only have the Wawa.
It's Sheets without a gas pump.
Yeah. Well, we have gas pumps now too, Doc. And they deliver pizza. You see, they do it.
The gas pumps deliver pizza? That's amazing.
The gas pumps, they are transformers. They deliver pizza and pump your gas.
I am Maximus Prime. Please enjoy this pizza.
Have the Ultra. But yeah, our town has 3 Wawas. We're not a big town either, so.
Very nice.
Wawa.
Caleb says that video you did on the culture war was brilliant. It reminded me of last year when there was a travel ad, a real one that got banned because it had a trans person in a bikini with a beard.
Oh,
I've been out of work ever since.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to ask how that sort of thing is going, let's talk about Sports Illustrated. Because they decided to be stunning and brave on their last swimsuit issue, and now lo and behold, here we are in January 2024, and their entire staff got an email that said you're all being hey guys, you're all getting laid off.
Apparently, they missed a payment to the licensor.
Apparently, tough times.
Or I guess they're the licensor, the licensee, the person that licensed it out to them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, no, the person that licenses out is the licensor, the holder of the license.
The license. Okay, so I had it right the first time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There you go. Yeah, that was a good conversation. People enjoyed that video, Aaron. In fact, one guy said he watched it 3 times.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was his
nice.
favorite video ever, especially the part where we talked about being kids and, you didn't really notice like the superficial differences. You just realized someone liked to play with Transformers, and that meant that they were your best friend.
Yep, it was a lot easier back then, man.
Can you imagine growing up with Max and his parents are like, no, you can't hang out with this kid. He doesn't look right. You have to hang out with that kid. It doesn't matter if he likes comics or not. We want you to have a diverse group of friends. You're like,
is that what happened, Max? Did you have to? Did they like come over and go like, okay, look, here is the official Burger King Kids Club checklist of friends that you have to go out and find. Got to catch them all, Max. Go collect every one of these check boxes. And you're like, shouldn't I try to find friends? Check boxes, Max. That's what we're.
Look for the wheelchair.
It was always funny because
a person of color in a wheelchair. That's a twofer, Max. Good job. Max. You're ready to run a major studio.
We're pushing back braces this week, kid.
Well, in school they would always in all the textbooks, like every cover of a textbook, it'd be like physics or something, and it'd be the group. It would be the kid in the wheelchair. They'd have a dog. They'd have like every person of different ethnicity. It's always been they were always hey, we're inclusive. These are
my
all
physics book had like physics equations on it.
Why is the dog doing physics?
Yeah,
it was on there.
The only book I had with something like that was French.
Yeah.
Maybe
why was the dog speaking French?
It's a smart dog.
Did they ever have a dog in a wheelchair though? That's where that's where you're really like narrowing in on.
That's where the points get in there, yeah.
That's when you know that we've achieved equality, true equality and equity. We can all sing Kumbaya.
Adam Frey, need to ask Wes if he met the Kandahar Poupon. Yes, I did. It's one of the most horrendous things that man has ever created in the history of the world. I believe when they created the Poupon at Kandahar, it was outside on the outskirts of the base. By the time I had gotten there, it had been going for like 10 years or whatever, and it was right in the middle. And I don't know if Max was ever there, but there's the USO where you can go and watch some movies or play video games or get on the internet and email your family and stuff while you're visiting there is literally right next to the Poupon, and it just smells like shit the entire time. It was awful.
I was never in Kandahar, but we were while we were in Baghdad, we were right by one of those rivers, and it was pretty bad.
There's like 5 fountains in it that are just spewing poo water, obviously, and all the particulate is just going through the air and just fucking poisoning people. Mostly enlisted, because that's where they put all the enlisted barracks as well.
Oh yeah, that tracks, unfortunately. But yeah, especially because it's like 120 degrees out there, and so it just stymies the heat. Just like makes it coagulate. It's bad. But yeah.
Nice.
Kandahar is easily the most dirty place I've ever seen in my life.
Really? Oh my
god,
god,
disgusting.
You haven't been to downtown LA lately, have you, Wes?
I bet you there's no Poupon in downtown LA.
No, there are poo rivers down the streets.
I'm about to say it's poo streets.
Yeah.
Caleb says there's Dune Part 2, Godzilla New Empire, Planet of the Apes, and Nosferatu from Robert Eggers. See, there's some big movies coming out. Deadpool 3, forgot that one.
Yeah, I think Deadpool 3 is the one that we've talked about being pretty excited for. But
I'm not, but
I am looking forward to Dune Part 2. And
you got through Dune Part 1?
I like Dune Part 1, and then there's also War of the Rohirrim, which is going to be an animated Lord of the Rings film with some of the original, members from the original trilogy. I'm hesitant, but that might be an opportunity, an option this year. So, but
are you up for Inside Out too?
Oh, the one where she goes through puberty? No, I'm good. Thanks, though.
You don't think they handle that well?
It's also Turning Red Part 2, as it turns out.
Oh no. But
I was going to say I will add.
Go for it.
I was just going to add to Callum. Super excited about Nosferatu. Like that's probably my number one movie for the year that I'm ready to see.
Robert Eggers.
Tommy Reviews says, been loving the Energon verse so far. Aaron, are you aware some people are trying to boycott Hasbro due to the Titan class tidal waves pricing of $200?
Yeah, a lot of retailers are pushing back and saying that they're going to boycott ordering it because they know that Hasbro, by the time that they order it and they get a bunch in stock and they have them on their shelves for 200, that Hasbro is going to drop the price or dump them to Ollie's. And this is what we predicted when Wes and I would talk about this, and I've talked about this on World Class Bullshitters as well. Once you start making customers realize that there's a good chance that they're going to pay far less for it if they're patient. They're going to be patient, and you're going to have to drop the price. So Hasbro has been engaging in a lot of kind of predatory pricing practices. It's one of the things that Wes and I talked about, where last year they went into this idea that because during the pandemic they'd had a record sales quarters, that they were going to keep that up. They were going to top it, and so they artificially raised their prices, and they ended up cutting their own throats, as we predicted.
Very nice. Finally, Calb says, on something similar, is it true airlines want to get rid of all white pilots to replace them with diversity hires? Is Vita going to fly planes?
Oh, no.
I'm sure
there's been weird statements by the airlines, and I think some of it's really overblown, but at the same time, it's Jesus fucking Christ, people, read the room.
This is your captain speaking. On the real, y'all, we're going to talk about Palestine for the next 30 minutes. So just sit back and enjoy your flight as a literal retard tells you about geopolitical conflict.
Just wait until you start. I mean, Spirit Airlines is going to be fucking lit. That's all I know.
You thought the fights were good before.
Yeah.
For real, no cap.
Tommy reviews. Apparently, also Tron 3 is in production. I like Tron Legacy.
I love Tron Legacy, but isn't that 10 years late?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I thought Tron 2 or Tron Legacy was the second best 3D movie I've ever seen after Avatar. It's the only one that made it look good. Oh, am I the only one? There we go.
No, I'd love to.
I like when 3D was going to be huge and it was going to overtake theaters and everyone's going to get their own 3D glasses.
I liked it way more than I liked Avatar, to be honest.
Yeah, but Avatar's 3D filming is way better. Like the technology they used is much better.
Okay, I can get behind that.
That's what I'm talking about, the technical achievement with the 3D. Whereas if you go watch Clash of the Titans or whatever that was,
that was
abysmal. Yeah.
Well, they started with trying to do 3D as the thing that was actually going to come out and reach out to you, and you could interact with it. But then it became what The Hobbit was, and it was 3D is just two images laid on top of each other. So if you took your glasses off, you get this massive headache, especially
But the glasses also gave me a headache.
Yeah, that's true too. So.
And it makes everything darker. So actually, I found that I would enjoy things far less. And, when you're going oh, look, that rock outcropping looks like it's right there. You're not paying attention to the movie anymore.
Right.
I remember seeing Superman Returns, the bad.
Oh, the Brandon Routh.
The Brandon Routh one, where it was 3D, but only in parts of it. And then they would tell you when to put your glasses on and when to take them off by this little fucking glasses thing going on in the bottom corner of the screen.
They did that in Freddy versus Jason.
Okay.
You got to put your glasses on, and you had to put the old school 3D glasses on to watch it in 3D.
Yep. Yeah.
I remember that.
Wow.
And oh God, and then you'd take them off a little too early, or you'd wait a little too long to take them back off after the scene ended, and everything just looked goofy. So yeah, it was bad.
Ryan Wilson says, "Did you see EVS review ISOM 2? It was funny." I saw that it happened, but I haven't seen it.
I don't care what Ethan does.
I haven't seen it either. All the negativity surrounding that whole conflict is
the weird beef has thrown me off.
Yeah. It's been a slow boiling pot for a couple of weeks now, and then kind of boiling over. But I know Max and them discussed it last night on their stream for a couple of days now. I've pretty much just been saying it's children being children. So
a lot of it has come down to that, petty kind of childish beefs and conflicts, but there have been some points that have been brought up that are actual points of criticism, and that's what we discussed last night. I think on Max's Man Cave on Sunday, we'll probably bring out more of what's been going on within the drama, if you even want to call it the petty drama and stuff. But yeah, it does seem childish when there's so much infighting, when realistically the best thing for this kind of industry and what we're trying to do with indie comics is just make a good comic. And if people are serious about that, then they would focus on that. And that's what we hope that they would do. But it just seems like there's way too much infighting. So
Gallup says, didn't a submarine sink because it was made by diversity hires?
Oh no.
I think it imploded.
I thought a door flew off of an airplane or something.
Oh yeah, no, that's happened. And then an engine caught fire on another
bridge
plane.
Fell down.
Yeah.
It was engineered completely by women.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had. Well, I think even Boeing.
It didn't fall down; it collapsed. I mean, that's a better word.
Well,
I think
generally when
even
things
around the
collapse,
time.
they fall.
Let's say I think even around the time all the doors, they're having issues with the doors and the Boeings. Boeing had posted like these are our engineers, and it was all women in the picture, like in the facility. So
yeah. Well,
I'll tell you, my dad went back to Boeing. He's retired, and he got called back to Boeing for a contract. And actually, he was like, the money was too good. I went back for a year. But he went back because they don't have anybody. They don't have any qualified men anymore to do the inspections. So they've been like desperately calling people out of retirement to try to get them to do inspections and things on planes because everybody with that knowledge has been pushed out. So, next time you get on a plane, as you're plummeting towards the ground and there's no door and, you got your oxygen mask and, you're inhaling deeply and praying to whatever God you worship that, they welcome you into the afterlife. Just remember to be thankful for a moment that at least your pilot was diverse.
Didn't if memory serves, there was already an issue a couple of years ago with the 737s.
Yeah.
I have a vague recollection. I don't remember. It was probably 6-7 years ago. The 737 Max, I think. They like literally grounded every single one of those for months. I don't remember ever what fucking happened with it.
Yeah. Nerdy Girl Creates Carrie says, I think Jared Leto is the star of Tron 3. I don't hate the guy, but his current big budget track record is not good. I don't hate Jared Leto, but I don't like him either. He was definitely the worst thing about the sequel to Blade Runner.
I don't understand why he would be the star of Tron 3. Like, I don't even
Shouldn't it be the kid from Friday Night Lights?
It should be.
Yeah, like we're not going to follow up on the Legacy story because that was way more interesting than.
Yeah, it's the guy from Friday Night Lights, right?
I wanted to see that kid with Olivia Wilde in the real world.
Yeah,
for a little bit.
I forgot about Olivia Wilde. She looked great.
Yes, she did.
I guess we should be thankful that the star of Tron 3 is not Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
It's Piece of Mercy.
or Brie Larson.
Aaron, yet.
Yeah.
Dude,
I don't know. Jared Leto just tries to be so strange and everything that it's at this point it's it's like when Johnny Depp decided he had to be weird and everything. And it just kind of works.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. I am 99% positive this is Scientology connections. So,
oh no. Well, Scientology did give us the cinematic tour de force that is Battlefield Earth, which I think we need to make Max watch on Cherry Popped.
Oh God,
that's a good movie.
That was such a terrible
big breakout role.
Remember with the jump in logic of the aliens seeing the starving humans like scrabbling to eat rats, and they arrive at the conclusion that it's their favorite food.
Yeah.
Gather the rats to get them to do what we want.
I just want more of Travolta in that fucking wig and mustache.
Giant headpiece.
What does he say in that bar? Before you even knew your name, and he's like very over dramatic and stuff, and just trying to.
Yes, the musicals guy is over dramatic.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen Travolta in a movie where he wasn't overly dramatic.
Linda says Batman is a soccer dad now. Josh, what is this from? Is this from Batman and Robin from Josh Williamson?
Fuck, I don't know. I'm not reading.
I stopped reading it because it wasn't a good book.
He's a
terrible.
soccer dad in that.
I hate look. The art makes me want to have a conniption in that book. So
They
I
changed
haven't
the
read it
artist
yet.
to a worst artist.
And then
Oh,
it's
fuck.
going to go back to DeMeo too, though. But yeah, they're kind of trying to make it a little bit of a manga-esque type deal. And you have Damien joining the soccer team at school, but he's undercover. But yeah, Bruce, it's kind of cringy. Bruce is like, it's nice, but cringy. He's like cheering on Damien.
Is it as cringy as Bruce sitting on the beach with his smoking hot babe, sending his
You mean
12-year-old
dressed like
son
Magnum PI?
Yeah,
that was more
into
cringy.
Gotham to try and kill Bane by
Though,
himself.
I think the cringiest was when Megan Fitzmartin made Batman hug some, rioters because they were just friends he hadn't met yet. Is what happened, and everybody.
When it says Batman
was
is a
happy.
soccer dad, now I assume that was from the Bat Family webtoon.
Now I
Maybe.
believe it's Batman and Robin. Just this thing. It wasn't bad, but they don't know what to
I
do
dropped
with
that
Batman.
book.
Yeah.
It was
American
more
comics. We're overpriced, but at least we're getting worse.
Comics, people. Yeah.
When you were talking about Batman hugging a rioter, I think you broke Max's mind. Like I just looked up at the corner, and Max is just like dragging his hands down his face, like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was bad.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Lade says we need more Travolta by Fred Durst, like the fan.
I agree. I agree. If you guys haven't seen The Fan, do yourself a favor.
Was Robert De Niro? And,
yeah.
No, that's
and
The Good
what-
The Fan.
or
This is
not Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes was in that.
no. This is you got to see. Travolta plays a mentally unstable man named Moose.
Moose
And
is
it
in the
is
house.
it is a performance.
Do we
It is
it a musical?
chef's kiss.
do we remember Phenomenon?
Do you remember
Oh, that
Michael?
was a good movie.
All those movies where he was just coming in and just like overacting, like when he came back, like just dramatically overacting. It's where I kind of like went from, with
Michael?
Pulp Fiction, I was like, oh, I'm glad that Travolta found his way back into films. And then, after Broken Arrow and Face Off and a couple of those, I was like, kind of wish John Travolta wasn't doing films.
Yeah.
Hey,
You
I
did
wa-
like Broken Arrow and Face Off?
No, I said after Broken Arrow and
Oh,
Face
I
Off.
was like, I
Hey.
thought you were saying those are the ones that wore you out. I was like, those are good.
he still had Swordfish to do after that, which was fucking awesome.
Those are great movies. Probably the best thing Hugh Jackman's ever done outside of Wolverine.
Probably
Also,
the best
you
thing
get to
Halle
see
Berry's
Halle
ever
Berry's-
done.
Yeah, because you get to see her tits.
Well, she
Okay.
does do some things, but
That's when she. Don't you guys think it's weird that in Hollywood, such a progressive, bastion that routinely tells us what virtue is? Don't you think it's weird that in order to have any kind of a career, an actress has to take her top off or have a very lewd sex scene?
I think
Seems
that's
weird
the
coming from
fans
such a
speaking.
such a progressive community.
The only one that could do it was Meg Ryan.
Yeah, and then she ruined her face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was too bad.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Well, thank you very much to everyone support the channel. I'm glad we got to talk about some stuff because there ain't much going on within comic books, but we will do the best with what was out there. This week we had a weird, before that, we do need to give a shout out to the Patreon backers. I've totally messed this up. We got 4 new backers for the Patreon this week. If you haven't checked that out, there's a link in the video description. We got fantastic podcast with Aaron Sparrow with the Geek Fix. We've got the Hot or Not show with Jim, where we talk about all the new comic books. We've got the Q&A podcast with Doc. Oh my goodness, I'm all over the place. As well as the Comics Guild started this week. I do a comic book review every week, and we do the solicitations as well. PM, aka the Photon Maverick, protector of Techtopia. Thank you very much, sir. You are a true hero. Mad Harl, who is the Manic, protector of Frenzy Falls. We've also got Mark Underwood, also known as Oakhart, the protector of Timbercrest, and Nick Weiser, the Brusader himself, protecting the people of Milwaukee. Isn't that nice? That's got to be the best name I've come up with, the Brusader. This feels like a good hero, right?
I sort of love it.
Yeah, that should be a real hero. Well, Nick is a hero. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into this comics journalist meltdown, Josh. I don't know if you saw all this stuff, but we've got comic shops closing down. We've got people on the precipice of going out of business. We've got comic book publishers merging and all this stuff because everything's so bad. And they kind of lost it, not because of all that stuff, but because their Eisner Award was basically taken from them. And Heidi McDonald would never get to wear her Eisner dress again.
Never again. I'm kind of sad that you mentioned the correlation of everything falling apart in comics around them, and then being like, it's fine. It's fine. And the industry's fine. It's better than ever. You take away their awards at the Eisners, and like all fucking hell breaks loose. You would think that they've gotten robbed or that they were fired because their journalism, it hasn't mattered for years, but now you've got the industry saying, yeah, it really doesn't matter. So, I think it's hilarious. And I can't wait to see how many journalists that have been shilling for the big two decide they're going to start being honest now, because they don't, their arms aren't reaching far enough up the butts to matter anymore.
Their water carrying patronage award is given away. It doesn't exist anymore. I mean, was there ever like a cash award associated with an Eisner, like $50 in a fucking Chili's gift card?
Chili's gift card.
Yeah, like because I'm pretty sure they're like, that's the only thing that kept them going, and now they can't even get rewarded for their shilling. They can't even use the shilling that gets rewarded as the justification to keep the job, to keep them shilling, because I'm pretty sure that Rob Sokowitz dude, the only thing he was concerned about is how the fuck do I justify keeping my gig at whatever the shit. Where's he at? Screen Rant or something, or was he Forbes? I don't remember. I don't really fucking care, but like the only reason they kept him on the payroll is because somebody's like, I don't know, he won some fucking Eisner Award. I guess we should probably keep him. I mean, he gets like 8 views on his articles, but it's got to mean something somewhere, and he's award winning, so we'll keep his job. Now now the award doesn't even exist anymore for him, and they're like, wait, why are we keeping this fucking guy?
I think it's interesting because, Josh, you said something to the effect of like, now they might actually be honest about that. I still don't know if they will actually do that, even if their access is gone from the big two. I still don't know if they'll be honest because. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think you're gonna see like at least 40% move to being at least more critical and somewhat honest, because I think they're learning that it's not the people that are going to still continue to shill are the people that want to write for the big two. Those people are going to shill, but I'm going to kind of pass to Jim on this. There are sites out there and platforms and publications out there that do not let you post negative reviews. They will not allow it. Or if they do allow it, there's a quota. Like you can only have 1 or 2 for so many reviews. I had a publication. This is when I was still with Batman News. I had a publication reach out to me wanting to poach me, and I was in discussions with them. And then they came back and said, we don't allow scores below 7. And I was like, fuck it, I'm out. It
does happen, yeah. And me and Josh have talked about it before, and I've had I just do that. And the idea that I could be considered a comic journalist, that's why you should never have the award. I mean, it's like, hey, I'm gonna. And most of these people do comic journalism. They're just, hey, I'm going to start a blog. I'm going to do this. Yep. It's not. And this is what I try to say to even creators who end up, bitching and moaning about scores and I'm like, there really isn't a comic book press. It really isn't. It's a hobby type thing. But the idea that I can't get my EGOT now is really upsetting me now that they don't have that category. But it's weird. Like Josh said, I ended up having people who would quit sites because they end up and like Josh said, you can't do anything under an 8, and that kind of got to them. So they'd say, hey, can I do a review on your site? And I don't care. So yeah. And then they ask me these weird questions like, okay, well, what's your average that I have to be around? I'm like, what do you mean?
What the fuck are you talking about?
And they're like, well, at the site I was at, we had to do, but you could go low, but then you had to then reverse it. It was like a makeup call in hockey. You got to end up where you're like, okay, well, I gave a 6. Now I have to give a 9.
Now an even up call.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you end up where you have these sites, and most of them, Josh is being nice with a 7. Some of these I've heard 8.5. things like that. And so when you go and look at reviews and you wonder why, and look at it, if you go to Comic Book Roundup, which I hope a lot of people do just to laugh at it, but you end up where the initial scores, the scores that'll hit that you see on Tuesday or Wednesday morning, they're all 10s. They're all 9, 10s. And then you wait for a couple days because the people who don't get the review copies start, getting now all of a sudden we have the 6s and the 3s and it's a true thing. It really is. So that the shilling that sort of way with reviews, I guess it continues if you keep getting the review copies, because that's all they're doing. And add that to what Josh said, and it's a real thing. I mean, a huge thing of these reviewers wanting to write for the big two, yet they don't realize it rarely happens. And they just keep doing it, and they end up making themselves a joke. And just as a other final deal, I've had multiple creators talk to me that they think those people who give 10s are a joke. They actually laugh at it and literally say they don't even care about them. It's nice to, skew the thing, but they think they're a joke and don't even think they get what they're doing.
But I think
it's like rim shot.
Someone did a joke.
Take my wife, please.
But yeah, the thing too is that they not only like the comic book reviewers, but just the journalists, they can never actually admit or be honest about anything because they're afraid that if they say anything that's negative, or criticizes anything, they're now part of the bad people. Yeah, it's because only the bad people are the ones who are negative. So we're just going to be positive, right? We're just going to praise everything, because if we do, we'll be seen as on the right side of history, which I hate that term now. It's been overused and whatnot. But
Max, don't ask questions. Just consume products. And get excited for next product.
The next product, yeah.
Hey, exactly. we've all described what they call access media. And we're shocked that your access is dependent upon your ability to give them good press. It's almost like you're outsourced PR department.
Would they still be okay if we kept the award, but we just made it more accurate for the time and we called it like the Cancel Pig Propaganda Award? Would that and then they could still go and wear their pretty dress and actually I think I might have said this when Wes and I talked about this, but just a dress. You don't have a new dress every year. You're not buying a fancier and fancier gown because of how well you're telling us the industry is doing. Dogman's doing great. How is it that you don't have a new dress every year?
I can't show up in my Letterman's jacket from high school. Hey, dudes, like that's my deal.
I wish you would.
That'd be awesome.
Hello, fellow kids.
Fellow kids.
Well, that $14 in a Chili's gift card that Heidi got one time only stretches so far, sir.
Come on, that was from Distillery, the publisher of the year, Doc. Come on, you're being intellectually dishonest.
Yeah. So, no,
I'm sorry, Distillery.
Distillery. I feel fucking autistic saying it. No, so yeah, it's genuinely amusing to me to watch these people throw a tantrum about losing the one thing. Like, hey, bitches, you weren't getting into the industry anyway. I know, like 6 people from Comics Alliance and a couple of people from IO9 did, but you're not. Ain't nobody hiring your ass. So now you don't even have the chance of being rewarded for your shilling. So
I was actually so annoyed about this, especially on the same day that we were getting GoFundMes from more comic book stores that need help to survive. That I not only did the video with Russ, with Russ. My good friend Russ,
who the
up there in the
Russ?
corner, just right above me, just Russ, right there. You guys know him. But I was so annoyed. I not only did that video, but I actually sat down in my anger and I wrote a column. And I'm just waiting to get notes back on it. And then as soon as it goes up, I'll post on Twitter so you guys can go read it. But it's called "Comics Journalism Isn't Dying; It's Changing," and that's got some people scared.
That's good.
One of the best titles ever. I love it.
Yep. It's not a bad thing.
the troll in me, like if I were running things because I like to troll people so much, I would, and if I were over the Eisners, I'd be like, guys, okay, we hear you. I'm sorry. We will bring back this award. It's gonna be in this year. Don't worry. And then I'd give the award to Bleeding Cool just to piss everyone off.
No,
No, you give it to John Delarose.
Bounding into comics or something. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just everybody is just like losing their minds even more.
Give it to fucking Zach.
Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah,
I love that.
he gets a
Although
free
he
pass
doesn't
to
make
San Diego
videos
every year.
anymore. He quit.
I know. I saw. What a bitch.
For now.
No, he'll be
I don't
back.
think
He
he quit, Jack.
No.
He's just taking some time off to get his books out.
Yeah, he just wants to get his shit done. I'm just fucking with you, Zach.
Jeez, I can't believe you called diversity of comics a bitch.
It
He'll
does
email me
seem-
later.
It does seem, I think, one of the worst atrocities that I remember seeing from 2023 was when Heidi was interviewing the comic shop that was closing down. And speaking of Zach did a great video about this. But the first question that she asked them was not, "How long have you been in business? How has this hobby, how has this passion, been for you in this 20 years of being, or however long they've had their store?" Her question was, "So it wasn't because of the woke stuff, right? That closed your comic shop down?" And stuff like that is why people wonder why they're journalists in the first place, right? So it's completely disingenuous and extremely vile, evil,
Yeah, as you sift through the ashes of your business, I'm going to go ahead and have a struggle session with you to get you to say what I want, so that I can own the my enemies on Twitter and please the 3 people that still read my column.
Exactly.
Well,
We have to
there's
dunk
another,
on the chuds before we give good criticism. Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
I was gonna say there's also the perspective to look at of just like what is the industry itself doing? Because for sure, the past 4 years they've had a heavy kind of lean into like, okay, we're gonna stick it to comic shops, and now they're the people they've been sitting around doing like circle jerks with the comic book media. They're now kind of shunning them as well, and I'm like, man, you're creating a lonely island over there, preparing to get shit on, pretty much. So. I don't know.
It's they're completely obsolete. It's they're the horse and buggy. They're the horse and buggy, and they're watching everybody drive by in shiny Model Ts, and they don't understand why they don't have the premier space on the highway anymore. It's not the days back when you guys could run your forums and you could get excited because Dan Slott popped into the forums every once in a while. So anybody who criticized him, you had to block and you had to, kick out of the space because, you wanted to maintain your access to Dan Slott. What a boon that is to your, to your forum. They lost that ability to block out anybody who dissents, and YouTube has eaten their lunch. Channels like this, channels like Nerdrotic, channels like The Critical Drinker, all these guys that talk about pop culture, they've drawn the fandom away. And it's because even though they may not always agree with these personalities, you may come on here, you may not always agree with Wes, although why wouldn't you?
You mean Russ?
Yeah, my good friend Russ here. You may not always agree with him, but at least that he's going to be giving you his honest take, that he's not shilling for anybody. He's, I read this and this is what I think of it. And people respect sincerity, and that's what they want. And they know that they're not getting it from these comic book shills who just want to go to these little after parties and hang out with Mark Waid and feel like they're pseudo celebrities because they're connected to comic celebrities, which is just the lowest form of celebrity, just right above like influencer.
Is it even celebrity though? That's
no.
I'm pretty sure random guy on a subway is more of a celebrity.
No. Yeah, and I always go with the review stuff as the comic press just because that's what I did, like Josh. And it is funny because when you go through and you do this for a while, you do end up seeing how people just like the people who are with you suddenly become against you because they end up trying to shill more when you're just doing the same thing. And a lot of these places, they're so big on looking positive that they'll just avoid things that are bad, and then people just realize they do finally realize. And I think we're getting to that point where, in general, that nobody trusts those sites and things. They think they're jokes, so and they are.
I am very grateful for friends like this, channels like this, chat. You guys are always awesome as well, because I think a lot of people, especially when this first started to happen, like maybe a decade ago, and people started to read these books and watch these films and go, I don't know about this. Maybe I have some criticism. And they were immediately met with attacks from like the other side, and were called this and that. And even the journalists were saying, well, if you didn't like this, then you are the one with the problem.
And that's what the problem is. Yeah.
And that's what the problem was and is. And so then YouTube started to spawn these channels, and they became the new voice for a lot of these people that felt a certain way. And now you're seeing that genuine nature. You're seeing that authenticity pay off. And that's why this, the comics journalism is dying. And that's a good thing, as they would say, right? But I am very thankful, because we finally have, I think, a voice that is very strong, that is genuine, authentic, and tells it how it is. And we don't all agree. And I think that's great. That's part of why this is so fun and why it's so interesting. So.
Wait, you don't
I
agree
completely
with me?
disagree with the panel on the wholly having one dress for award shows, man. And one suit. What the hell do I need more than one for?
That's what I wore to my wedding that I had to go to for my son. I'm like, pull it out, baby.
And let's not even get started on how we're going to arrange and assemble our comic book collection, because that'll be the rest of the stream, right? Because we'll all disagree.
There's one way. There's only one way.
According to
Everything
Doc,
else
you gotta
is
do it
wrong.
alphabetically.
Yes, and
That's
everything
right.
else is
Do
wrong.
not take into consideration the publisher, the hero,
character.
the story arc.
No.
Nope. Do not,
Yeah,
because never mind. I will go into this for 3 hours.
So yeah, but it's all good.
Everybody in the chat, pour one out for our poor comics journalists.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's too
That's-
bad
that's in
that
the
such
chat.
Pour one out for our
terrible things would happen
homelies.
to them. While we have people
one for me, one for
going
the
out of
homeless.
business because they couldn't point out an obvious problem for the last 7 years, and they ignored everything. But now we're going back and acting like, well, actually 2018 is really when these problems started. And I was like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
There's quality problems, Wes. We can't really define what the quality problems are, but they exist. We can't talk about them. We don't know we can't identify them in any way.
It's quality.
Which is weird, because a lot of them are all about identity. Yeah.
There you go.
I dare say that comics is in an identity crisis, and not the one that Metzler wrote.
Yeah.
no, yeah.
I have a funny video that'll be out on Monday where I talk about a crisis, but it's not that one.
No,
But I think you guys will enjoy it. Callum says some of them. I wonder, did you read the book? Did you read Trial of the Amazons? Did you read Wonder Woman Historia? Can you see how perverted Tim Sheridan is?
Well, I mean, I don't want to see how perverted Tim Sheridan is. I'm pretty sure that'll put me on a list somewhere, or it'll really just screw up my browsing history. Ugh, no.
Wonder Woman Historia, had some pretty good art in the first issue, but that story sucked. And that's like their comic book of the year.
Yeah.
The art was a bit chaotic. It was gorgeous.
It was over-rendered, yes.
It was over-rendered. I think the line work was beautiful, and like the actual design, or I think the design was lacking, because it was just there was nowhere that your eye was trying to focus on. Like there was no graphic design to the pages or storytelling. It was just incredible, like really detailed images.
Yeah.
And I think you have to have both when you're doing a good, comics is a storytelling medium. It's not just paintings.
That story it felt like a coffee table type thing that you have there, and people just page through quickly and go, oh, that looks nice, and not really read it.
Yeah, it was a way to give Kelly Sue a page rate, but nothing that she did in it was going to matter.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, do you remember when everybody was like going, "Oh, DC's Black Label, it's going to be all these really like talented writers and Kelly Sue DeConnick," and that's what people kept saying.
Yeah.
We still say that.
I can't think of anything that I've ever read from Kelly Sue that I thought was worth revisiting, if even reading the first time. And that's just, you may feel differently, but
you didn't like Bitch Planet?
No, the panel doesn't. No,
you seem like a Bitch Planet kind of guy.
No, yeah, I got my non-compliant tattoo on my arm here. Sisters are doing it for themselves, Wes. The book, the movie. That was such a movie pitch.
Read a lot of these books, and it's weird. Jim, you could attest to this. A lot of times, if there's a really bad book that's getting like 10-star reviews, they won't even talk about what's in the book.
No,
they'll just generically praise it, but not ever actually get into any of the details.
And here's the thing, like a little bit of like comic review 101, because I'm such an expert, but it's harder to review a book that you don't like, because you really do have to really give reasons, because people are going to come at you and you really want to spell out the reasons. But if you give something a 10, you get a pass, because then when you say to them, well, what the hell? Like, this was awful. They come back at you. Well, sorry, I like things. I hear that all the time. I'm like, but give me a reason, because this book sucks.
10's a perfect comic book.
And 10's, like I said at one point, even here, like you have 10's like a Watchmen or whatever your favorite comic is, and the random Harley issue from last week. Those are the 10's that people set to you, and like, really? And then even when you say that, they're like, well, I'm not saying it's that good. Or in their review blurb, they'll say, oh, this isn't a perfect comic. 10 out of 10.
But 10 is perfect.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. I don't get it. But yeah, again, though, the comic press and a lot of these people just, they don't really know how to review things. I'm not even saying, anybody does, me, myself, whatever, but some of the people just, as a basic deal, don't even know what criticism is. They're there to push it.
At least those people have now apparently infiltrated CGC, so they're doing the same with books. This ASM1 is kind of beat to hell, but I know it's not perfect, but 10 out of 10.
Yeah. And so when you get the people, and when I end up talking, or some people, because for some reason a lot of people review comics, they'll end up talking to me, and when I talk about certain reviews, and they just seem like, oh, well, like, why would you do that? The creators will get upset. Or aren't you afraid that this will happen? Or like me and Josh have heard a million times, and it's one of the things that triggers me a lot, is the idea, oh, you don't like this? Then why are you reviewing it? Because we're reviewers. And when we do it's the worst, because that's what you're doing. And I try to come up with things like, would you want somebody who's reviewing a car? Oh my God, this has no brakes. I won't review it because it's bad. Like, or something like that. Or if you're like a food critic, if you don't do you stop eating? I don't understand it.
Well, it only gave me food poisoning, so I probably should.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I won't tell anybody about that, because I think it's the idea, and just to go broad stroke, is that idea that the everybody wins. There's no losers. Everybody gets a prize. And people growing up in that point, they're more afraid of upsetting people than actually doing a review that says legitimately. And there are people who aren't honest on the opposite side, that just want to get some clout and things. That's just as bad. But it's easy to fish out if you pay attention, especially like Wes said, if they're giving 10 out of 10s without any reason except it's great. That's not enough. It is.
This is like when I criticize AEW and people are like, "Well, if you don't like it, then just don't watch it." And it's like, yeah, but I'd like to like it. I mean, I'd like to enjoy it. And
because you're a WWE show, and all you do is dump on anything that isn't Vince McMahon related.
Yeah, that's what I do. You see me out there shilling for WWE all the time. Sure. No, I would like there to be an alternative. I would like to enjoy your product. And when I criticize it, I'm telling you why I'm not enjoying your product, as is a lot lot of people. And that's what,
when people criticize, they're still bought in to the point
they're
where
still engaged. Yeah.
Feedback.
When you give me the apathy, when I'm like, okay, I just won't watch it and I won't pay any attention to it at all, then, that's why you see ratings coming in at like 675,000 for a show, or, up to 800 for their best show. If you subtract the Big Bang Theory lead in.
You're still dumping on AEW?
Oh, I'm going to dump on AEW until Tony Khan gives me my $80 back for that video game.
I don't understand why you and Yule are just like such Vince McMahon simps. I don't.
Oh, how much AEW are you watching, Wes? Let me see your Orange Cassidy t-shirt. You got that on right now?
I don't wear Orange Cassidy t-shirts,
Freshly
but I got a Claudio Castagnoli t-shirt. I got a John Moxley shirt. I got the The Lucha Bros got a couple of Miro shirts.
How's Miro doing? Seen a lot of him on the
That
old
might be
AEW
why I
program,
stopped
Mark?
watching there for a minute. But HH and the fellas at Sigma Comics. Shout out to the Thick and Critical team. Shillers go to shill, haters go to hate. Focus on unique ideas and creativity. The only reviews that count are from customers.
Yeah,
that's
I
true.
think, especially for HH, he really has to listen to his customers because he is providing a product for them. You know what I mean? Like if when he's listening to the readers, he's listening to the direct people who he's selling to. So I think that's why he succeeds and why people enjoy his stuff, because he's making a product for them. And so I think they really respect that. So shout out to HH.
Yeah, that's why it's hard to like. I don't think James Tynion is particularly a great writer, even though he wins the best writer every year. And you know, once Something is Killing the Children got to issue number 12, I thought the story wasn't very good. But I can't really make a video on it because everyone's still buying it, so it doesn't matter if I think the quality's there or not. People still like it.
It's weird. People are still buying it, but like nobody's talking about it.
yeah.
Like there's no real chatter about it anymore, and that's kind of an interesting thing, because then you're like, are they really reading it, or are they just like, well, I enjoyed this at the beginning, and now I'm just continuing the run.
They still have it
until
on
it
their
ends.
pull list and continue the run. Yeah.
Well,
You
they got
know-
a couple of the House of Slaughter and then the House of something else came out like a month ago, right?
When do you guys think that like the corporations and the journalists turned on the customer? Like when and why? Like what happened in
Gamergate.
culture? Was that?
They
Do you
got-
think that was the defining moment?
Called on their bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got outed.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where it started. And it also like coincided with the infiltration of the people at Comics Alliance getting into the actual comic book companies. That was an infestation, and that started to turn us to the point where we have now, where check boxes were more important than sales, and it was more important than merit or talent.
Yeah, because I can't think of any other in recent memory any other like like goods, like a company that produces goods for people, especially escapist content like entertainment, art, right? Just completely destroying fans and customers, like bagging on the customers and being like, we don't even want you.
Star Wars.
It just seems so counterintuitive, and that was when Star Wars really came out, and that was
I think
their
Ghostbusters
line
2016 started it for
that
cinema.
was a
Like
big
that was a big cultural moment, is when they decided to attack the fans because nobody liked the trailer. It got heavily downvoted, and then when the movie came out, it flamed out almost immediately because it didn't get good word of mouth,
I think
and rightfully so.
I think Yule's comment in the chat might actually
They
be
like
accurate.
stickle fights.
No, cosplay. When
Mm.
cosplay started being a thing, I don't think he's entirely wrong. There's
No, there's
weird
definitely-
correlation,
Mhm.
and when
There's a weird correlation to hot chicks and cool outfits and
no, it's
bad
it's
storytelling.
strangely enough, yes, because you end up with really weird kind of simpy dudes, a lot of unattractive
Oh.
women that are cosplaying. You end up with I think also the rise of like fanfic forums and then becoming a thing, because for some reason they thought that they could start converting those people into readers. They're like, well, they have an awareness of our product. We can probably convert them into monetized patrons. And they never have, but they think they can.
When I think Yule's got a point about the cosplay. When it was the rise of the professional fan, but they aren't really fans of the material. They're fans of, it's kind of like your boy Zach would describe, the way a mom looks at a comic book. She loves Spider-Man. She just kind of like taps her fingers on the picture of him. Oh, Spider-Man. I love him. But they don't actually, dig into, they're not actual fans of the comics. They're not actual fans of the books. They're fans of dress up. And
fans of likes on social media.
Yeah, and there's a ton of
Mm-hmm.
really great cosplayers I know that are really genuine geeks, and then there's the ones that there's the ham beasts that tried to get Gina Carano kicked out of Fan Expo in Canada by starting that petition because this is there's one that's actually on the video, and she's like, these organizers need to realize who their target audience is, queer LGBT people, and I'm like, their target audience is a very small percentage of the population. You're not going to be able to run a show that way. Like you're not going to run a show the size of Fan Expo when there's a reason that FlameCon is small. Yes, there is a space for those fans, and it's called FlameCon, and it is small because the population is small. Fan Expo is more broad range. It's more for families. It's it's open to a wider demographic. So you're not the target audience, but this is how they think of it. They think that because they play dress up, that they now own this space and that they can dictate who comes into that space, and it's not 2016 anymore, sweetie.
There's also, and I always still come back to this, that stupid fucking Facebook data.
Oh yeah.
grab.
Oh yes.
That's when they started convincing themselves that 41% of their audience is female. And it's never point, they convinced themselves, and then they tried to manifest it. They tried to change their product. They're like, well, 41% of women said they like comic books or they like comics. So why isn't our product have a 41% female demographic?
Even if that were true, even if 41% of the audience for comics was female at that time, you would think that you would go, oh, the 41% that are here are fans of what we're doing right now.
Exactly.
So let's just stay the course because we've got a pretty good spread across demographics.
Well, the thing is, they convinced themselves that wasn't the case, that somebody else, they're like, well, we know what our demographics are. They're like 9% female. So if it's really 41% female, we're missing out on 32% of women.
And it shows what they thought of them, because their solution was to dumb things down. Let's attract more women, and they dumb it down. So
they didn't think about the idea that maybe men don't fully fill out their Facebook profile.
Yeah, no, they didn't. They never took that even into consideration.
Yeah,
that men are like, okay, I put my picture there. Here's where I live.
I don't want to put in my favorite song and what movies I like.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about any of that.
I don't have time for this.
Yes,
I have to go chop wood. I'm a man.
I'm here. I'm on this thing now that everybody's telling me I'm supposed to be on, and I can talk to the I can see that the fat chick that the pretty chick that I graduated with, that everybody had a thing for in high school, got fat. All right, cool. Are we done now? Like, can I stop using this? That's
all right.
That's men.
Lade says, I have to give props to Yule Carter. My LCS sold out of Ultimate Spider-Man and did not pull my sub. Yule got me a copy and mailed it. Go Fantastic Comics. Now that is customer service.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because Yule Carter rightly knows that comics is a customer service business. Whether you're a retailer or you are a writer or an artist, you are in the customer service business. So you better take care of the customer.
That's awesome.
Puts a little cool bag in there too, just a little trigger. You know what I mean? A
little something. A little bit of the
ruin the comics.
A little bit of the sweet Chiba.
Steve Notko says, it was the movies. MCU lauded making billions. The comic pros with talent left because they were not making money off the adaptations. After they leave, the infiltration happened and fans got attacked.
The hackening.
It started before then. Like, his Gamergate was before then too. Like, it really.
It surprises me that the majority of the male, I would say male fan base was just driven off because the larger corporations said, we don't want you anymore, and thought, well, let's get someone else. We can get someone else in here, and they'll fill out the rest of what we lost, and it just hasn't recovered. I think Gary has said this before, but when the MCU first started, he was talking in his comic shop saying, if anything, we'll get some great movies for a little while, but the comics are going to suffer, and that's exactly what happened. And not to get all Warhammer on you guys, but I'm afraid that will also happen with the Amazon series. Is that the show might be good, we might get a few good things with Henry Cavill, but ultimately the fandom, the hobby itself, will suffer and will be infiltrated, just like everything else that has become mainstream.
That's why we draw the line here, Max.
Yeah.
No foul.
Hopefully they do it as well as they did Halo, and no one cares.
That's right. Or Rings of Power. The thing is, it's really interesting because the Force is female. That whole idea, that whole agenda has destroyed the Star Wars fan base. And Chris Gore has said it repeatedly, and I'll repeat it here. He says that deciding to turn Star Wars into a girls' brand is going to prove to be the costliest mistake in the history of Hollywood. And I absolutely agree with that statement. The difference with the Rings of Power and hopefully with Warhammer and with Halo is that these spin-off products that they've gone and just destroyed, The Witcher, all these really shitty adaptations that they've done that they've packed with agenda, they haven't harmed the original fan base, except for the fact that we now have to guard the actual IP even more strongly. Nobody dislikes the Peter Jackson movies now because of that shitty Ring of Power series. We're able to laugh at it and then go back over to the Lord of the Rings movies that we love. And it hasn't been the same for Star Wars. Star Wars is irrevocably damaged by this. So it's interesting to see which fandoms, which people just walk away and then which people stand firm and go, no, we're just here to mock, what you did. and we're still going to enjoy this despite your attempts to ruin it with your big bag of bullshit.
Caleb says, on what Aaron said, mentally ill shippers do it. Korra is patient zero, and they claim this character as their own and twist it like She-Ra in 2018.
Well, Korra's a trans allegory, Callum. Just like Ultimate Spider-Man, just like
the X-Men,
everything,
Warhammer. It's all just a trans allegory. The Matrix, retroactively.
Well, that's what Jadzia Axelrod said in that interview that Josh had sent. Jadzia had said that superheroes, the genre, was a total trans allegory. That superheroes that have a second identity, and Josh, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I may be paraphrasing, but that superheroes who have like a Clark Kent and a Superman, that is a trans allegory for who they are and who they feel like they need to be. And that the entire genre of superhero comics has always been that. And
I think Jadzia had said something like it's always been queer.
That was the exact quote, I think. Yeah,
it's almost like people with a mental illness need to be, validated. They need to need to find everything in the world to validate themselves because they have a bit of an inferiority complex.
Right.
It's almost like narcissists. Like narcissists have to make everything about them.
I know, shocking.
Yeah. What did Drinker say? If everything is if you're a hammer,
when you're a hammer, all you see is nails.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
He also says they do it with anime characters, saying, "No, they don't belong to us. We own you and this character." And it's like, do you know what you've just said?
Well, they tried to own She-Ra, and they're welcome to the version that they claim to own because it ain't ever.
Nobody else wants it.
It's not getting another season, and it ain't getting a movie. It was a financial failure.
Yeah, it's weird. The whole gatekeeping thing becomes like, you know what, gatekeepers. Then you're like, well, maybe gatekeeping was the way to do it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, look at and I think that the shippers is that's a huge problem as well, as it was pointed out. I'm sure you guys all remember when Donny Cates was getting just hammered on Venom because there was a very small, very vocal group of lunatics online that were insisting that he make the relationship between Eddie Brock and the symbiote sexual.
Yeah.
And so because they have a weird fetish, it has to be recognized, or you're going to get death threats.
Almost like people with mental illness need validated. I mean,
we got you. Carrie,
I like that. It's like he came in and he was like, "I'm going to put the extra exclamation point on here."
Yes.
I love it.
Gary from Nerdy Girl Create says, "I feel like cosplay for some cosplayers was the precursor for Twitch and TikTok. It was about attention on them and not the product."
Oh, absolutely. A bunch of mid chicks that never got validated in high school that got slightly hot and figured out how to do their makeup, managed to get attention. I'm fucking shocked.
Yeah, it's you see this with every hobby, even every like popular, even with politics. Sometimes you'll see this with the left and the right. You'll get girls who are espousing a certain viewpoint or a certain worldview or a certain ideology, but really it's for the simp attention because they know that there's a large male audience and they can get a lot of attention if they say the right things or they do the right things and they go, I love all the Star Warses, I love all the Spider-Manses. And they just, get the likes and attention that they want from men who tend to be, fans of this stuff. But they don't actually care about what it is that they're actually cosplaying.
So really the root of the problem is simps.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
The epidemic is the simps. And that, because if the simps just said, you're not a real fan, you're a tourist, these women wouldn't, these infiltrators, these tourists wouldn't have a job in the first place. They wouldn't be getting that attention.
Dude, there's all these AI girls that are popping up on Instagram. They're literally just AI.
Yeah.
And but there they are, in their AI bikini, and things like that. And you go and I think it's hilarious. You go and you click on the comments and you're just watching all these guys like simp, and you're like, dude, it's a computer generated image. There's no hot woman on the other end of this. It's like a dude in
but
India.
That was the Weird Science movie.
Yeah.
We all liked her, right?
I put
Wait,
my
hold on.
AI pants off and I'm ready to go.
Not only will the e-thought not sleep with you, this one literally can't. It's physically impossible, like
Or
because
can
it
it?
doesn't have a corporeal being.
Oh, it's wild.
So men are the real problem.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
dudes that can't get laid and think with the other head are the problem in all of this.
Guilty.
There you go. That's a great thing
Guys,
to come to.
the waitress doesn't like you. I don't know how to tell you this. The stripper does not think
Stripper,
you're funny.
yeah.
The stripper that keeps coming back to you because you keep tipping $2 or $3 instead of $1 doesn't like you. She just has to work half as hard for your money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, very interesting stuff. We do have some other topics we could get into. I guess we should talk about what they're saying is going to be the biggest threat to really business in 2024. And I'd say we could extrapolate that out to being the biggest threat to comic books in 2024. MVP, I don't know if you remember this. The last time there was an election, and the time before that, there was another election. That year was basically just hell. It felt like a lot of people within the comic book industry kind of lost their minds. And I don't see them being able to stop themselves in 2024 as well.
It's going to be tough because, even the guys and I were going over a comic book last night that had massive TDS. And, we're talking, now it's almost 8 years ago, 2016, right? Yeah. And so if comics are still having these meltdowns about who's elected or what political individuals in office, 2024 we may need to be worried considering what may happen. And we need to be ready for that. But the individuals in the entertainment industry and in comics, in all sorts of art forms, are going to melt down if that eventually happens. But
they'll melt out leading up to it.
It's
be a whole year of this crap.
Yeah. Now, do you think that regardless the outcome, do you think that the comics will be affected even for the next 4 years again? Because like I said, this has been 8 years of comics that are still going over this stuff, and just I don't know, just feels like at some point they have to let it go.
Yeah,
I don't think that's going to happen. I think people are traumatized by this, just like they are by the pandemic. There's some people that are never going to get over that thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do think I genuinely think we're going to start seeing some shift. We're already seeing it to a degree. I think we're going to see more. You're going to have these psychos still voice their opinions, but the money's drying up, and there's going to be a point where
that's the big threat, right? Is when you go all in as a company and destroy your brand in the process.
Oh yeah, but it is going to start drying up, and they're going to start kind of looking to recoup their losses. At the end of the day, all that matters is money. and they fought it off and they pushed it off for years, and they got the benefit. There was financial reports coming out how people are still benefiting from the stimuluses that we've gotten since 2020. It's fading, like it's gonna be gone. So you will see a change by the end of the year. You're gonna start seeing a change. You're gonna have loud voices still screaming, especially with the election coming up, but there will be a shift.
I just don't get it in comics. The idea that it has to be like, hey, we're going to write for this group or we're going to send. You kind of want to just be universal. Like you can just why not write for everybody? Like that might be the thing to do. And, because they're not going to pander to this person doesn't mean they have to go back and pander to somebody else. Just make it universal, tell good stories. And I don't know how that's going to happen with the current, crop of writers, just comic book based deal, because most of them are going and doing their own things, but possibly, maybe they'll find some new people. I don't know.
Yeah. To Jim's point, I think the best timeless stories, like the stories that will forever last and forever be revered, will be humanistic tales, moralistic tales, not ones of ideology. And I know that people will say that, comics have always been political, and there's nuance to everything. Yes, there have been political stances within comic books, and there have been allegory and satire and subtext. But for the most part, if you can tell a human story, that is what people resonate with. And we just haven't gotten that for a decade.
It's like the new mythology. Like mythology
Right.
tales, they're universal. They end up, telling a deeper story, but in an entertaining way. And that's what we need to get back to. That's, the big play. And it just seems that all these companies are just they thought that they were going to get applauded so much for, doing this or that, and they weren't. And now they're kind of like, what happened? Like, why weren't we applauded? And they never will be unless they just do what they have to do. They're in entertainment, and they just don't get that.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the good thing, Doc, is, DC and Marvel can't Bud Light themselves. Where they make a statement and they basically turn off their entire consumer base all in one thing, because they've already done that, kind of. Right? Oh, my goodness. Is Doc out choking down here right now?
They have.
Aaron. Yeah, Aaron.
I hate them.
They can't they can't Bud Light themselves because they kind of did it over a 10-year period instead of on one moment in time.
Yeah, no, they chose the slow death as opposed to the quick and decisive death. So they've had a slow war of attrition with their customers, with everybody walking away, and now we're at the point where we don't care anymore, and it's you're not gonna get us back. Star Wars is never gonna be what Star Wars was, even if they managed to course correct beautifully. It's not gonna happen. You killed it. You killed the golden goose. Congratulations. And comics is working on doing the same.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Wes, you're saying that, but when Dylan Mulvaney has a Marvel ad in a month, I'm gonna laugh really hard and be like, "It's your fucking fault. It's your fault."
Dylan Mulvaney is gonna write New Mutants. Get ready.
Oh my god!
Kind of already did that with Charlie Jane Anders, right?
Pretty much.
Comic book superstar Charlie Jane Anders.
Comic book superstar.
So
what a low bar. Comic book superstar, just comic celebrity. It's just the lowest of the low bars.
What happened?
Aaron, when's the last time? I'm sorry.
What happened to just calling people up and coming talent? Like,
even that's debatable now.
I get it. But anytime you're calling a nobody,
newcomer.
Yeah, anytime you're calling a nobody or someone that's just a talentless hack a superstar, like it automatically makes me want to hate this book. I'm like, fuck you, fuck this book. I'm not reading it.
There are people who write comics, and this writer is certainly one of them.
No, not you.
All right,
sit down.
Josh, did Bud Light go so gay that even the gay guy can't drink Bud Light anymore?
I didn't drink Bud Light before, and I especially don't drink it now. Like
I know what a Bud Ice guy looks like, and you look like Bud Ice to me.
No, Josh strikes me as more of a Keystone Light kind of guy.
I am Guinness 100%.
Ugh, that's rough.
And you guys were giving me crap for creme brulee. For being pretentious for creme brulee in the chat.
You don't like yourself a nice Shinerbach? Texas Shinerbach? Come on. That was my favorite.
On a separate note, did you see that study that was released that people who love or obsessed with IPAs tend to have mental disorders?
I can confirm that that's true.
Yeah.
I've known some artists that were all about like everything had to be planned around going to get an IPA after the event. You know, what place is going to have the best IPAs? And yeah, I can confirm that is true.
IPAs are fucking disgusting.
Gross.
So bad.
The aftertaste is wretched.
It is. I think you have to have a mental disorder in order to not like utterly despise IPAs.
Yeah, they're bad.
But kudos to you, Josh, for not drinking trash beer.
I don't.
We call that
him.
piss water.
Bud Light guy before.
So
I mean, at least look, if you're gonna drink trash beer, just own it and go get some Fat Tire.
Yeah.
Or just the generically labeled beer that the supermarkets put out. Put out blocks of on the national drinking holidays.
Hold on. There was one from back in the college days. I don't know if it was a regional beer or what, but the Old German.
Yeah.
That was abysmal, but we drank it like water because we were broken in college.
That's why I drink Red Dog.
That was
Colt 45 for me.
Or Ice House was another one.
The Mickey's hand grenades.
Yeah, the Mickeys.
Mickeys are good.
Yeah.
Doc, I'm looking it up right now, and Old German was discontinued when it was discovered that the character on their label was Dr. Joseph Mengele.
Oh, serious?
No, I'm making that up.
Oh, fucking all right,
great.
that would have been fucking hilarious.
So, Aaron, do you think Bud Light now becoming the official sponsor of the UFC is going to bring them back? Because that's what I've been told.
Oh, I mean, they're trying everything. They're trying everything they can to, come on, guys, we're Americana, and it's like, nah, now you.
Man,
sorry,
I can't
you
wait
blew
for the UFC sponsored by Batman.
Yeah.
They're so fucking desperate.
It's really funny to see.
I just enjoy seeing their flailing because I've never respected anything out of Anheuser-Busch. I can tell. I've always, since I was a teenager, referred to it as Clydesdale urine. And well, partially because if you ever go to Busch Gardens, the stream that like kind of supplies the plant, like the fucking horses are peeing in it. So. Yeah.
Have you ever seen a Clydesdale actually pee too? Like the foam that comes off of that stream looks just like when somebody's filling Bud Light from the tap. So I think it's accurate.
Speaking of UFC, there's a fight tonight by Sean Strickland.
Oh yeah,
and that dude has been. If people who love what Bud Light did, just watch some of Sean Strickland, and you will be, turned away immediately. He is very outspoken.
I saw him just destroy this little Canadian reporter.
That was not the first time either. He's been doing this for a while, and he's been on plenty of podcasts. Yeah, the dude is straight up with how he feels. You got to respect it. So.
It's hilarious where they're like, let's start asking the guy that gets punched in the face for a living what his thoughts about social culture war.
Yeah, did you think he was gonna
war stuffs?
It's like Bill Burr used to say, like when there was the big controversy over the the patriarch of the Duck Dynasty family, being against gay marriage.
I love Duck Dynasty.
Well, Bill Burr had this great point where he goes, "This guy has a beard that's down to his dick. He sits in a boat all day waiting to murder waterfowl." What did you think his opinion was? Did you think he was going to have some really like super progressive view? Like you were going to be able to we're really going to be able to have a dialogue? No.
Yep.
Like seriously, what do you expect?
And it's funny because you could probably say the same thing for the other extreme, right? Do you think they would have? Do you think they'd be able to have a dialogue, with that? But
You think that this person with blue hair and 87 pounds of facial piercings and covered in tattoos, do you think that they're going to be able to have a rational discussion on on gender expression?
Whose
or
gender
do you think it's gonna...
is indeterminate?
Yeah, do you think it's going to result in a bizarre screaming match? Like Max, you sent us the meme of the. I don't know. We can't determine what movie it's from in the chat. If you know what movie this is from, please tell us. But it's the meme of the woman turning around in the back seat and yelling, "Why can't you just be normal?" And then the next part of the meme is just like this wild-looking kid shrieking.
It's the like, Babadook.
And is that the Babadook? Okay,
yeah, I hate that.
I've seen that with my wife. Yeah, that's an Australian horror movie, right?
Yeah, and the wingiest accents. I wanted to fucking punch both of them. God.
It was a good movie. You didn't like it?
I hated it. I was so sick of listening to that fucking kid.
I got so bored like 40 minutes into that movie. I'm like, I'm fucking done.
Well,
yeah, we were laughing because I posted the meme in our group chat and I just said the comic book industry, and then the woman saying, "Why can't you just be normal?" Or the fans are saying, "Why can't you just be normal?" And then the comic book industry turning around and screaming, incessantly,
like shrieking.
Yeah, shrieking. Why can't you just be normal?
Josh, that image is getting photoshopped. I hate to tell you that.
No. Yes. So. Yeah, is there something in 2024 that would be the biggest threat? Would it actually be comics journalism in 2024 that would be the biggest threat?
No, they don't matter.
Apparently not.
It's the publishers going out of their way to turn people off, but they've already done it. I don't know.
I think
they already did it.
Yeah, I think the biggest threat is, continuing as is. I really don't know if there's anything specific, but they keep heading down this trail no matter what people say or do or sells or whatever. And that's the biggest threat. Just keep doing what you're doing. Like work yourself out of a job.
Yeah.
I don't know that you could make me more apathetic. I mean, I guess you could, because technically I still get excited when we get a good book. Like when we get like the Energon universe, when something exciting happens in comics, I'm happy to go back and check those comics out. So I guess I could be more apathetic, but they've just driven the fandom to a level of not even hostility anymore, but just complete indifference. And that's going to be the killer.
Let's hear for the People's Caleb says, on what Aaron said, I think we've all been conditioned to conclude that every female lead is gay. And it's getting weird feeling surprised when they're not.
That happens in TV shows now. Like when I watch a TV show and there's, oh, look, a black female character came in. She's going to be a lesbian. And then on the rare occasion that she's not, you're like, oh. Whoa!
Curveball.
Who could have thought? What a wild and original concept this show is.
Yeah, it's definitely the truth. I know, Josh, you were out in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. What do you guys call it? LA in Hollywood?
I mean, we say LA, but
so you were out in LA, cruising around the movie industry for quite some time, trying to be a screenwriter. I like to listen to audio dramas. Some of them are fan produced, some of them are obviously professionally done, but you can tell they're kind of all throwaway scripts that were never picked up for TV shows or movies or whatever.
Yep.
And they all have the same lead. It's like this super duper smart female character that went to Harvard that's gay.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it doesn't matter if they're a lawyer or if they're a fucking astronaut or if they're this or that. It's always the same character.
Yeah.
Like, were you told to write that character?
Well, no. So interestingly, when I first went out to LA and started trying to work, it was still kind of taboo to say you were gay. Like a lot of times your agents and stuff are like, no, don't say anything. We don't want you to get pigeonholed. So a lot of people were still trying not to say
pigeonholed mean the same thing to me that it would have to you?
I don't know. What does it mean to you, Wes?
Well, pigeonholed is when, you're stereotyped into a thing, but pigeonholed could also mean whatever the director from X-Men might have.
Yeah, was doing to 16-year-old boys in the spa as he held their head underwater and almost drowned them.
We don't need to get into details, but yeah,
too late. Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. No, a lot of times it was kind of this weird mix of, look, people always knew things within the industry about other people within the industry, but it was kind of like, hey, don't make this public because then all you're going to be seeing is as a gay this or that. But then also this push of like, okay, well, we need to get more gay representation in here. But it was usually as like a background character or supporting character, and then like, oh, you know, like, yay, yeah, the gay best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one, and we did our jobs, pat ourselves on the back, and move on. Now it's like, I don't know, mental illness. Look, that's all I can say.
Well, Josh, I think what it is now is you've got people who are so determined to show you how progressive that they are, that they're actually exposing kind of their underlying biases and racism, because it became this idea of like, you know, every you know, female character now has to be a super scientist, and it's betraying the fact that they think that they have to do that because there aren't enough women in real life that are super scientists, because women aren't capable of that. You know, so we need to put this out there so that more women can know that they can try for it. You know, it's I remember, and let me, I know that didn't sound exactly the way that I intended it to, so let me give another example. I remember when I was at Boom, and they were Boom was doing what was the name of it? The whole Mark Waid is evil thing.
I can't think of it.
Irredeemable.
Thank you, Doc. Man, I'm getting old. They were doing Irredeemable, and I remember they introduced a character, and it was a black character. And I just happened to mention to Wade in passing as he was coming through the office that I liked the new character, and he said, "Oh yeah. I mean, I didn't really know. I really didn't know how to write street, so I just went against type and made him the smartest guy in the room." And like walked off without like really thinking about what that statement, like what the implications of that statement were.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you think that, and this is why he has that white savior complex. Like every time there's a problem, I have to come in and I have to save it, because these poor minorities can't do it on their own. They need the white ally to come in and speak for them. And that's the attitude of a lot of these people. So I think that's why you get a lot of these characters over and over and over again.
For the record, in Kneel Before Doomface, you have to make one of the lackeys named the White Ally.
Well, I've already, if you guys follow my Twitter, I've already shown off the White Knight, who is the leader of the Social Justice League. So I think you're right. Yeah, his sidekick will be the White Ally. Good job,
Eric Sullivan, the Sultan of Soup himself, the biggest threat, the print publication industry itself. Look at Sports Illustrated, National Geographic, and local daily papers. Who's next? Rolling Stone, I hope. But are our floppies behind? Far behind.
They don't have to be if they're good. The problem with all of those things that you named is that they all did one thing. They got woke, and they've gone broke.
And none of them have collectability. So there is a future for floppies, that they have something inherently more valuable than all those other things. But they're having to lean on that stuff way too hard, Doc.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sitting here rebagging and reboarding floppies as we speak.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you think is the printed word dead, Josh? Is that what he's saying?
I think it's going to become more and more obsolete. That it's just not going to serve.
We're all going to go blind trying to read books on tablets, man.
I know, but that's unfortunately where we're going. So, you know, and it's not even just print. Anything that's kind of like you would typically do in person, that's fading. You know, if you look at retail stores, their percentage of sales compared to e-com or shared with e-com. In-store sales is decreasing, e-com sales is increasing. People are just, they don't want to get out and about.
We're rushing towards that by and large Wall-E future where we're all just a bunch of, you know, gelatin bodied, you know, people sitting in chairs pushing buttons for things to be delivered to us. And they're going to deliver less and less because they want to move away from physical media. They want to move away from you owning anything. Remember, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. So guys, you got to fight back about this. You got to spend cash instead of using your card. Instead of using electronics, you know, carry cash and you know, do cash transactions with people. Make sure that you're buying physical media. Make sure that you're buying print media. Wherever you can, patronize a store. You know, hopefully a mom and pop first. You know, a small business, and then you know, up through your larger chain stores if you have to. But you know, I know Amazon's really convenient, and I know it's nice to be able to just go online and say, there it is, boom, it'll be here tomorrow, as opposed to going to Target and maybe it's not on the shelf, and then you gotta find an employee, and then you got to ask them, and then they pretend to go in the back and look. I mean, I know that's all that all sucks, but on some level, we have to push back against this because we're marching towards our own destruction.
Don't go to Target either. Fuck.
Well,
Target.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
Jim, is your wife is she
your
like
neck?
strapping you down or
Zip tying your arms behind your back.
I'm fine. She's upset.
Okay.
She thinks she has parasites now from the sewage that went in, and she's very upset in the other room. Yeah,
You know what you should do? You should go in and let her tongue kiss you through your lip hole.
Well, actually, that
just to
would
show
be
her that you
great.
believe that she doesn't have parasites.
That is sexy. And actually, I was sitting
Can you
here.
get parasites by kissing?
Maybe. I was still trying to figure out what the pigeonhole
cooties?
move was. That was my big deal. I'm upset because I do think it's like following breadcrumbs to like a second floor department store bathroom, and now we're saying that all these places are going under, so we won't be able to have the pigeonhole anymore. But yeah, I'm here.
Jim, what are the chances that you take a little spritz of toilet water to the face just to let her know that it's even?
That would be something that I would do. I think I'm getting smarter. Like I'd have a glass, like look at baby, and then I'd get parasites.
No, I'm not saying
Don't
drink
you're
it.
gonna get
It's
it.
just spritz.
Drinking it.
Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, I could do. Well, I
Yeah,
can't.
but he
really
can't shut his mouth. He's
I
got a
can't.
hole in
Yeah,
his
he's got an
face.
open wound. You might not be in a good position to take that.
Yeah, not at all.
You know what's cool though, Jim, is like you can drink through a straw without opening your mouth right now, and I think
That
you
is
should
true.
you should show off.
Yeah, I could do that. Play harmonica.
Impress your kids.
Ventriloquist.
I
They'll be
think
like,
Jim's been
"Dad's-
lying
Dad's
this
actually-
whole time, and he doesnn't have a real hole in his lip.
Yeah. What's that?
That's actually kind of cool.
I think you're lying. If you want us to know that it really happened, you got to show it.
I can send you. I
What
don't
are you,
have a
chick-
camera on my. I got in a fight with somebody in the comments a couple
chicken?
weeks ago. I don't have a camera with my computer, and the guy's like, "What are you running DOS?" And I'm like, "What are you, an asshole?" That's how the conversation went. But I could prove it.
And
It's
yes,
disgusting.
he is running DOS, and he's still playing the original
Yes, I
version
am.
of Leisure Suit Larry #1, on his computer.
It's
cutting
edgy. Yes, but no, she just walked by, gave me a dirty look, and I believe that she's heading to the hospital to get shots. That's what she
Did you
told
say
me when I stepped
You
away.
have
and I-
shit in your eye?
Well-
What is that?
It was funny because I went into the room. She was crying, just frantically saying she's getting parasites. And then I started yelling at her. And then I came back in here to make sure that I did mute my mic because it was getting very heated. And I did. So I ran back in and yelled at her a little, told her to grow up. She's very angry at me.
That was the correct response, Jim. Good job.
Well, I can't help
Really
myself.
de-escalate,
But, yeah. Oh, I tried. At first, I tried
Maybe
to
you should have
settle her
said
down.
you remind me of your mom. That would have really calmed her down.
Yeah.
No,
Thanks,
tell
Les.
her-
You mean her mom who died last month? That is very inappropriate.
Tell her that she's getting hysterical. That always
Well,
de-escalates the situation right away.
I did.
Why
send
can't
a-
you just smile?
Well, that would make
Jim,
me
why can't you
I'd
just
have
listen?
to be happy.
Why can't you just listen and
That would be-
empathize?
I did end up sending Wes that I did send her at one point when we were talking about it a text that said maybe we could turn the basement into the Kandahar poo pond, but she didn't like that either. So I was trying
Jim, she doesn't want you
lighten
to
the mood.
solve her problem for her. She just wants you to empathize.
Yeah.
So just listen and then say,
That's what we do.
I too know what it's like to have parasites.
But through this
And then you're
point
golden.
before, when she was doing this, she was in losing it, and so I was like, I had a finger on the mute button ready for her to flip out. That's why I wasn't saying much, but
All right.
disaster.
Jim needs his own
Popsicle-
comic book.
Yeah. Shit, man.
Popsequentialism. Big picture. Who's the audience for comics at this point? Is the revenue worth seeking the demographic, and what's the spend necessary to rebuild that tent?
That's a whole show.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
think the audience right now, what they're doing are collectors and speculators. I don't think it's
Yes.
much for readers anymore.
Yeah. And I still think that the audience, if you listen to Rob's podcast, I think it's called Rob's Reservations or something, but Rob was actually recently down here in Orange County, California at Comics, Tunes, and Toys, which is like really close to us. And I go there on Wednesdays to pull back issues. And one of the things that he said was when he went in there, he noticed that there was a ton of group of kids hanging out, looking at manga, didn't pay for a thing, didn't buy a single thing, walked right out. All the people that were buying were older, middle-aged white guys. And it wasn't, him trying to force a narrative. This is just, because what does he have to benefit from that? This is just what he saw. And this is in Southern California. So I still think that audience is, like you said, collectors and speculators, maybe some readers, but it tends to be middle-aged white guys.
It's, I would say right now, the actual audience is definitely middle-aged white guys. Sorry, that's what it's going to be. It's 35 to 65 white dudes. If you want to rebuild that tent, I think you got to start with a couple of things. One, you have to put more money into the creatives, and not by paying the existing creatives more, but by offering better incentives to get better creatives. However you do that, be it front end, back end, whatever. Then the second is you're going to have to eat cost for a little while on product. You're going to have to treat it as a loss leader, at least temporarily, in order to bring up circulation. Under $2, you have to get the product back below $2 so that it's impulse buy territory, and so that you can market it as not only sell it as an impulse buy product, but market it to retailers, especially mainstream retailers, your convenience stores, your pharmacies, your Walmarts, to essentially get it back onto a spinner rack. You're not. I know people are like, "Oh, it ruins the books." Blah blah blah. Do you think non-readers give a fuck? No. The idea is to create a pipeline into the stores in the long term, so that you use it the way that the first 30 years of the direct market did, where that was the pipeline. You got eyes on the product in the places where people actually went on a regular basis. And you got them to start reading it because you created something interesting that they would actually get excited about and come back for. Eventually, they started getting serious about it. And then they started finding comic shops for both greater variety than what the newsstand and the spinner rack was giving you. And so, while they are not, when they've now become readers and they actually start giving a shit about potential collectability and all that other stuff, they can go to a comic shop and get stuff, in better shape. But it requires you to get the product back below $2. Anything above that, no store's going to bite.
Do newsprint editions that you put out at those places.
Yeah, because Mark Miller just sold a comic book for $2, and because of the increases in paper, they ended up losing money, I believe is what he said.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I said it has to be a loss leader, at least initially. Over the long term, once you start getting economies of scale, you can actually make money, unless it's completely more than your cut.
MH Comics Invictus says, I go to steakhouses for fish, I go to football games to watch baseball, and I buy Marvel and DC for slice of life manga. Well, there's nobody happier than you, sir.
Yes. He's starving, bored, and without anything to read.
No, you that's what you want out of your Marvel and DC comics. That's what you're getting.
And it's even then it's not slice. It's slice of life, but it's not slice of life manga, because slice of life manga is still interesting. It's boring slice of life of the reader of the writer who has never done anything of interest in their entire lives.
Yeah.
So it's a slice of a very boring.
And the slice of life, you have to get a character you care about to want to go through that life with, and they only will center on the situation, never the character. So it is just life, but not a life that anybody wants to live. Like Aaron said, they don't even know what to write because they haven't really done anything themselves.
Linda says, why do they think woke comics appeal to women? Don't female readers like stories about heroic men too?
And they like stories about beautiful women.
Well, the ones that read superhero comics do.
Well, look at, great example is just the MCU. Like, they had a huge fan base of both men and women. And it was, all the heroes, all the male lead heroes had a deal in their contract that said, you got to take your shirt off at least once in the movie. That wasn't for the male audience. That wasn't for the male gaze. That was for or not. Well, the GAZE.
I don't remember
Not
seeing
you,
Paul
Josh.
Rudd. I don't remember seeing Paul Rudd with no shirt.
He did the first
He
one.
did.
First one.
Yeah.
First Ant-Man took his
Yeah.
shirt off. He had abs.
Yeah, buddy.
Yep.
Weird.
So yeah, I mean, it
No, it
is
was understanding the
extremely
audience.
patronizing. Yeah,
Mhm.
well, it's
But-
patronizing now to say that it's not made for women. But sorry, go ahead, Aaron.
Well, it just shows what they think of women, because the moment that they started to think, oh, we need to appeal to women, they stopped putting the things in the movies that actually appeal to women, and they started putting in emasculated men, because they, the only women they know are from this very small circle in LA who, are all uber feminist and all, are afraid of and despise men, and, just dream of emasculating them at every possible interaction. So they started putting that in the movies. So regular women aren't interested in emasculated men. They want to see heroic, strong male characters on screen. And they start, we need to make the female characters strong. And what they actually end up doing is they make them less complicated. They dumb them down. So it really shows the low opinion that they have of the female audience, because they think this is what you want. And when the female audience doesn't show up, or they say we don't want that, they're accused of having internalized misogyny.
Yep. I would even say, like, Linda's comment, and even what Aaron was saying is on point. And it's saying, don't female readers like stories about heroic men too? I would just say heroic characters. Whether it's a male or female character, if they're heroic characters and they have a good moral compass, we're pretty much on board, whether you're a guy or a girl.
Yeah. If you look at
Well, the portrayals are different if you're aiming towards men and women.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you go back in the day and look at a heroic female character,
I'm talking. I got you. But I'm talking about like Twilight versus Iron Man.
Oh fuck yeah.
Where Twilight's got like this weird, basic, nothing character that basically everyone falls in love with as soon as they smell her and want to eat her.
That's
Because of the different way that women, look at, like the play patterns. We always go back to this with the action figure studies that Lego did. It's like, how do we get more into the girls market? And they found that girls want the character that they're playing with to kind of be a blank slate, so that they can project themselves onto the character. Whereas the way that boys play is, we see He-Man or we see Batman and we say, okay, I need to learn about this character so I can inhabit this character. I can be this character. I don't want He-Man to be me. I want to be He-Man. I don't want Batman to be me. I want to be Batman, unless you're, you've got feminine energy like Tom King, in which case you want Batman.
I was going to say, that sounds like Tom King's Batman.
If you look at, I think one of the best examples of male and female heroic characters from the Lord of the Rings trilogy is, like, you have someone like is that a joke? I didn't know.
No, sorry.
It's like,
Thank you.
that's all. That's
I
all
moved
for
my
me
chair.
But yeah, I mean, you have someone like Arwen, who is one of the most beautiful, feminine, elegant, and yet she in herself is a strong, strong female character. In Fellowship of the Ring, she fights off ring wraiths. But the rest of the film series, in Two Towers and Return of the King, she is Aragorn's strength. She's pushing Aragorn to become king, to embrace his legacy. And then with Éowyn, she is a feminine woman who knows she is feminine, who embraces her beauty, who has a loving, affectionate relationship with Aragorn, and yet she is still wants to fight for something that she believes in, and ends up killing, spoilers, the Witch King of Angmar. Like, these are women who embrace their femininity, embrace their motherhood and their compassion and understanding, and yet can also be fighters and warriors and be protectors of the things that they care about. It's a beautiful storytelling, characterization of women. And for some reason, we think that, no, they have to look like Galadriel from Rings of Power, who's condescending, arrogant, narcissistic, insufferable. Why would any woman or any man want that type of person around? So it just seems demeaning and patronizing.
I saw a meme talking about you directly. Now I know what it was speaking about. You'll see it.
Who is talking about me?
It was from Joe. He has a meme about you. He's like, "Oh, this is MVP."
Ooh, I can't wait.
It's Lord of the Rings.
Oh, nice.
Nerd says, random question. If someone made a new Warriors comic, would you read and review it? I'd certainly read the Kibblesmith one. I'd have to review it.
I'm disappointed we never got to read it. That looked like a delightful
Bullshit.
train wreck.
Absolutely. That book was made to be reviewed and not read by anybody else.
Bummed me out though, because I had a character for the Social Justice League that was named Safe Space, and then he decided to try to take it back and made it even more of a parody than I was going to.
It's kind of the way it works. Caleb says, you missed my It Worries Me Too chat. Well, I apologize. I'm not sure how that happened. These things kind of like automatically show up the way that StreamYard works now, but it worries me too, and I think that they can't let it go because they need an Emmy to feel like they're the good guys. Yeah. Man, I wish I knew where this took place.
People with I remember because you put it on the screen, but you just didn't read it. Yeah, it's and I at the time I thought when you read it, I had a comment on it, which was just that people who have actual virtue don't need to virtue signal. They know what their virtues are, and they don't need to put it out there. People who have a lot of skeletons in their closet and have a lot of things to hide and have a lot of, they need to throw up the cover of continually pointing out how virtuous they are, how on the right side of history they are. And look how many times we see it. We see it when people, post things that, this and this and this, and then it's something that they get busted for not long afterwards. Nobody's trying to push porn onto kids, and then that person that said that gets busted for, distributing child pornography. It's always the squeaky wheels that you got to look at, man. People that have virtue are just quietly going about their lives.
Or the people like Jim that admit all their faults and laugh about them.
Yeah.
But then cry later.
But there is virtue in that. Because you're No, and I get that. I'll do the rim shot again.
Hey, a rabbi and a priest walk into a bar.
But no, the folks that have virtue, not only do they not feel the need, everybody also knows. Like they just emanate that goodness, and people can observe them and see that they are naturally virtuous people. They don't need to, because they're not only these people trying to convince themselves, they're also they're trying to convince other people and themselves because they know they're not.
Now it's like people who talk about the charity that they do and they brag about it all the time. It's like, well, who are you doing that for? Are you doing that because you actually care, or are you doing that because of the bragging rights? And if you are doing it because of the bragging rights, then it's ultimately empty.
Very nice. Kaiser Jose. I'm here, homies. I'm here. Cobra Commander is good.
You know what?
I
read it. It wasn't bad. I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it
Aaron,
a lot.
come on, get in here, buddy.
I liked it a lot. So here's the thing. It was a roller coaster for me because it opened and I was like, all right, I'm digging this. And then it got to a point that I was like, oh no, don't do this. Don't go down this road. I mean, I like that where it fit in, but I don't, I've never wanted it to cross over in the comics. And I'm trying to avoid spoilers here for those of you that haven't read it yet. But I will tell you the thing that I didn't want to happen in this Energon universe, it actually makes sense, and I think it works. And by the end of the issue, I was like, all right, let's see where this goes. Where Duke is kind of an action-oriented book, Cobra Commander is more of a horror kind of title, it seems like, and maybe actually even get into some body horror at some point with what they bring into it. So I think that it's very different in tone than Duke, and that's jarring for a lot of people, but I don't think it's any less good in its own right. So I'm really digging what Joshua Williamson's doing, and I'm saying this as an old school G.I. Joe fan. It's very particular and hasn't liked a lot of things that have been done. Did not care for the Scarlet Strike Force era of G.I. Joe. Things like that. But this is good, and they're making G.I. Joe work within the Transformers universe. So I dig it.
Culture Pop with B-Hop says he can't tell if you're broadcasting from one of those Asian bathhouses. What's going on here? If
a hot Asian lady comes up with her hand and puts her hands on his shoulders, everyone cheer. I'll cheer. I hope that's happening.
The best case scenario, I guess.
Well, no, I'm just set up in the corner of my
recommendations. Yeah. You got any more books you're recommending, Aaron?
No, that's it. I haven't read anything
this week.
I haven't read anything but Cobra Commander this week, so that's the only thing I've read so far. So it's the only thing I can recommend in good conscience.
Any big appearances? Obviously besides just here on the channel on the podcast.
Nope. I'm staying home. I'll be at ToonCon on January 28th, which is in Pasadena. I think that's what it's called.
So you won't be here.
No, that's a Sunday. Yeah, it's a Sunday. So no, I'll still be here and hyping that appearance for anybody in the LA or
How much you charging for autographs?
I don't charge for autographs. I'll sign anything. I'll sign your Darkwing Duck pops. I'll sign comic books. I'll sign your fleshy foreheads. Whatever it is that you want me to do. I'm a dancing monkey.
There you go. You won't even charge for it. That's a beautiful thing. Anything else you need to say before we start winding this down, Aaron?
No. I think I'll shut up and let everybody else talk about their comic recommendations.
Very beautiful. Max MVP himself has got the Warhammer 40K channel as well. Still talking about comic books in the whole geek sphere stuff. You recommend any comic books?
You know what? Surprisingly, G.I. Joe this week, I think they're on 303 now. This has been fantastic. 301, 302, 303 has been a beautiful depiction of from Chris Mooneyham with Larry Hama back on the flagship title. This has been so much fun for me to read. And I think what's great about it is I came in with like almost zero expectations. I really didn't know anything about G.I. Joe. And so to kind of be introduced to the universe this way has just been a ton of fun. And it feels like, 80s comics again. So I would recommend, G.I. Joe 303 this week is going to be my pick. And if you guys can get your hands on Deathblow issue 1, 2, and 3, I want to say, in the back, check out some Nick Manabat art called Cybernary. I'd also recommend those as well.
Very nice. Is there anything that people should be looking out for? Obviously, you're here on the Aficionados, but you got other live streams that you should probably pimp out a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So every Friday night, it's me and the guys from Comics Elite. So Drew, who you have on the channel for your weekly best that you guys do on Saturdays, Wes. Drew and Kyle and I go over all the comics that we read. Sometimes it's 15, sometimes it's even like 30, depending on the week. And we just kind of give you guys a review. That's every Friday night. Every Sunday night is Max's Man Cave with a ton of different guests and appearances, but you'll most likely see Josh and Aaron and guys like that on. And we just talk about more pop culture and variety stuff. So that's been a lot of fun as well. We will be talking about some of the allegations and the scandals, going over some of the Rippaverse stuff with 3D assets into the comic books. So if you guys are interested in getting a little bit more of an objective viewpoint on that, come out Sunday night, on the MVP channel. And then, of course, Maximus Prime 40K. You guys want some Warhammer? Let's go, baby.
Maximus Prime.
Yeah.
Very nice. What else we got? We got Josh. You recommend any comic books this week?
I'm gonna kind of echo Aaron. I was reading Cobra Commander and I was on board, and then I started having some concerns, and then by the end it was like, all right, like I want to see where this goes. It's a fun book. I'll also say I enjoyed G.I. Joe, and Drew talked me into reading Avengers Twilight, which I'm not gonna say I liked, but it was competently written and has good art and could do some fun stuff. We'll see. It's not there yet.
Book.
Yeah, it is an odd book. Other than that, 2 other books came out this week. Phantom Road, Infield Gang. They're 2 titles that were my top 10 for 2023. So if you haven't checked them out, go check them out. And then I don't know. Do we want Whiskey Josh for tomorrow night, Max, or no?
You know what? Let's go for it. Belligerency.
Okay.
We'll go full belligerency and we'll just have a blast because there are a lot of fun topics tomorrow that we're going to cover. And it'll be a good time.
Man, I used to go to a restaurant called Whiskey Cake in San Antonio that was delicious.
2 things that I like: whiskey and cake. Whiskey
Well,
Josh
you would
is
like whiskey cake.
Yeah, I have no filter when I have my whiskey, so it can be a good time. And then come hang out with Aaron and I on Tuesday night for Culture Pop. So
just had what I think is our best show
or something.
This last. No, I'm talking to the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Customer service, Wes.
Oh, servicing the customers. Very nice. Jim, you and I talked about the Hot or Not comic books this week. Any particular comic books that you want to plug?
I will say the Enfield Gang Massacre, as Josh said. I'll also throw in Jay Garrick, The Flash, which I do think that Jeremy Adams is doing a really good job and is showing you that you can retcon a character a bit, but not change the overall character, and how much people would like that. And also I'm going to throw in a odd one, the Green Lantern War Journal. number 5, the Philip Kennedy Johnson book, has been very convoluted. I think he's either been told or realized that he has to kind of dumb it down a bit, kind of get it a little more, back to basics. So I think that that's a pretty cool deal, and almost like a jumping on point, because some things are repeated. But I like it. But yeah, there's a bunch of comics this week. I'm not going to put Cobra Commander because I didn't know what that. I'm not a big G.I. Joe fan. I still liked it, but I was confused.
Pretty pathetic, John.
Yeah, I am pathetic. So
you don't have to be, Jim. You don't have to be. It's better if you are because of all the Easter eggs, but you don't have to be. There's a whole new universe, man.
Oh, I liked it. It's my third least it's my least favorite of the 3 that have come out so far. I still liked it. I just was a little confused. I'm a dummy. But yeah, the Emfield Gang Massacre, though, now I think people should even pick that up in trade if you haven't when that comes out. It's really good.
Very nice. And Josh, Culture Pop with B-Hop, did he steal your channel name?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure my Pop by Culture goes back to 2016 or 2017. So
no, but his is Culture Pop. Pop by Culture is completely different.
Well, Pop by Culture is the channel. My Tuesday show is Culture Popped. And
Culture Pop. That's it.
Popped.
You have a show name then.
Yeah.
Oh no. What should he call it then? If he's not going to use Culture Pop with B-Hop,
I mean, Culture Pop with B-Hop
Comic
is fine.
Pop with B-Hop, baby.
There we go.
Why would he want to lessen his views by making it comic specific?
Fair.
Yeah.
Trying to do, Wes? Trying to sabotage this poor guy's channel.
I'm trying to keep the fucking alliteration with the rhyming.
It does work. Make it Funko Pop with B-Hop. Funkos.
Now you're really getting into a small one.
Have a better channel than comics, man.
There you go. All right, Doc, you were last and obviously least. What are you recommending this week?
Well, I am obviously not. Well, actually, I am going to recommend Cobra Commander, although I still need to buy it because I bought Duke last week, but I haven't been to the comic shop. And I'm going to have something special to show everybody next week. But this week, we'll go with some Mark Spector Moon Knight number 60. This is the last issue of this series with this fucking dope Stephen Platt art where Moon Knight got friggin' enormous and ultra jacked. And but I really like this. And this is a hard book to find in grade just because of the black cover. All those black covers get hard to keep in decent shape. So then we're gonna go with something even more fun.
Yeah.
Marvel Comics presents number 72, that Barry Windsor Smith Wolverine. The original origin of Wolverine. So
Amen.
I
Good
love
stuff.
this. Then we'll go with Long Shot number 1.
Ooh.
Some
Art
Art Adams beauty. And I think this might be the first appearance of Long Shot, I think.
Yeah, it is. And it's written by Ann Nesenti, which is weird because we've all been assured that women weren't allowed in the comics industry before 2015.
I know, it's super weird. And she was writing a book by possibly the best artist of the decade that influenced all the other best artists of that decade. And we're like their primary idol. Super weird. But women aren't there. Imagination. And then we'll go with something big. All right. Let's see.
There it is. Very nice.
This is, Max and I were talking about that Nick Manabat one that he just got. This is the Artifact Edition.
Autocrat?
Yeah, Artifact Edition. It's basically it's not the IDW Artist Edition, but it basically steals that form factor and everything. It's full 11x17. This is the Brett Booth one. And let's see, what do we got here? I'll just open to a random page. I have no idea what I'm seeing because I can't see the screen, but I don't know. It probably looks friggin' dope.
Yeah,
it does.
Gorgeous.
So some of it's inked, some of it's just the raw pencils. Let's see what else we got here. A couple more pages.
Nice.
Let's go. What's in the middle? I have no idea. I don't think any of this is not safe for work, so I'm pretty sure YouTube's not gonna come after you. But,
no, you're all good. Look at that! Look at that backlash Spider-Man Venom art all together on the page. It's so great,
so rad.
So yeah, this one I don't remember. You might still be able to buy it. I'm not certain. The like a bunch of the Wildstorm like fans actually basically just got together and got with Brett and got copies of, we're able to scan all the original art and put this thing together, and they've done a couple of them. I need to check and see if there's any new ones. Obviously there's that Nick Manabat one that I was unaware of. So the Wildstorm guys do quality work, and you can only buy the books through the group because they do not post these publicly. So you can't secondary, like you can't put them on eBay, you can't sell them through direct distributors or anything. These are strictly fan made for the fan group, and all of these are numbered or limited. So it's a very passionate group of people who just want to get art in people's hands, and it's some of the coolest stuff I've seen in a while. So I love it.
Very nice. Wonderful show today. I think we pulled this with hope. Wait, we got Jose the Beast. Good morning, guys. I'm recommending Jay Garrick Flash, Superman, and Cobra Commander. Avengers Twilight was a copy of The Dark Knight Returns, in my opinion.
Hearing a lot of that.
Yes. Yeah. We'll see on Avengers Twilight. I'm not recommending it yet. There was some issues with that, but definitely Jay Garrick Flash and Cobra Commander I'm on board with. Superman, I expected to be more fun since it was a Western, but it was all right. Yeah. There's some good stuff there too. So I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. It is playoff football time. The divisional round, the Chiefs are playing the Buffalo Bills tomorrow, and that's going to be a big deal for me. I hope everyone is rooting for them, and I'll see you next week after I get me some chicken nuggies and do some other things. Yeah, that's that.